Welcome, all you entertainment holics out there in entertainment land. It's time yet again for another thrilling, exciting installment of, you guessed it, wicked entertaining, coming at you live every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on Rock Rage Radio. And we're also on Rock Rage Live. You can watch us also live on our YouTube channel. Just type in Get Real Global TV. And then we're also Get Real Global TV on Twitch and TikTok. And then you can check out our Linktree page to see all of our social media and website links. Just type in at Jennifer DeVoe Muse. That's JenniferDevoeMuse. And then you can check out our radio station, Get Real Global Radio, KGRL, on Spreaker. We're also syndicated on iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube Music, TuneIn, Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts. We're also on many other sites, pretty much everywhere you can watch or listen to podcasts. We're distributed by Sony Music Entertainment, Sony Music Publishing, The Orchard by Sony, and 50/50 Global Music Incorporated. And then, of course, we're also on many other places like Pandora and SiriusXM. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Jennifer DeVoe Muse. Hello to everyone watching or listening to this broadcast around the world. Normally, this is where I would say, let's all say hello to the sultry songstress, but she's not here right now. And shout out to the Mac Daddy of Metal, Shyler Staver, who is about to go on stage and play at a venue out there in Cali. So we'll keep you updated on that. And we've got some really awesome guests tonight. Our first guest for the hour, shout out to Ronald Farrell Jr. What's up? And we've got two guests tonight. So it's basically a 2-hour broadcast, which is always nice when we have one of those. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes it is nice to have that. But our guest for the first hour is going to be Rik Fox, bassist for Steeler, WASP, and Sin. So amazing, incredible bassist. You just wait until you hear all this. And he's got an incredible story to tell you. So much amazing stuff that he has done over his career. So that's going to be exciting. And then the second hour is going to be Nikki Ferrari. So we're going to have a great time. Let's all buckle in, and we're going to bring on our first guest for the night, which is Rik Fox, the winged knight of heavy metal. Woo!
So I have an exciting story, do I?
Yes. You have many exciting stories.
Somebody tell me what my story is.
Only you really truly know now, don't you?
Yeah, I saw what you were doing before the camera came on.
A
couple of hits there, huh? It's gonna be one of those nights.
It is. I think so.
Boy, I guess anybody that's going to talk to me needs to do that.
Well, after working a long day with the public,
I'm getting delays again.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So, can you tell everybody when your career started in the entertainment industry?
Oh, okay. Well, shortly after birth, when I was born, my career didn't start yet. But probably I started with music in high school, and then went on from there and played. I played my professional debut was October 1975 at the legendary New York City club Max's Kansas City, and I played with the Martian Rock band. The pictures are out there; they're all over the internet. And from there, I wound up playing a bunch of the clubs in Jersey. I joined a band called Virgin.
Okay.
And not the California Virgin. We predated that. That name.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so with Ian, Chris, and the guys, And so, I did that for a while, and then we changed the name a couple of times because as we changed members, we kept changing the name. So around 1977, 76, 77 is when I came up with the name Sin.
Okay.
And there was nobody using the name, so we were
Right.
lucky. We played the clubs for a few years, and then Ian joined another band. Went to play drums in a band called Angel Face, and I wound up hanging out, back in New York City. There was a club there. Well, I was going to say right next door to CBGB's, which I played at with the Martian Rock Band a couple of times.
Oh,
but there was
wow.
New York had a lot of legendary clubs. This other one was called the Great Gildersleeve.
Oh.
And I made friends with made friends with a lot of the bands. I wound up doing concert lighting for a lot of bands there. Trigger, Face Dancer,
Wow.
Dina Regine, Lover, a lot of bands I worked for. Thor, and it was making connections with a lot of people from the record labels, like that. I'd help bands get signed, things like that.
Oh, wow.
And then from there, like my name got passed around. I don't know, forget how. I got recommended back to Jersey to a band called the E. Walker Band, and we played the same circuit as like Twisted Sister and a lot of the bands that play. The tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And I played 6 nights a week, 4 or 5 sets a night. So that's where I really paid my dues. It's like being on tour without leaving, well, we went up to 1981. We recorded some originals, and we went up to we toured up in Toronto.
Oh, wow.
We played 5 of the biggest clubs in Toronto there under the name Spitfire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then came back. And after that, we came back to Jersey. There was a little bit of weird chemistry stuff in the band. I left. And then, I was working back in various businesses in Manhattan and New York.
Okay.
From Electric Lady Studios, where Eddie Kramer produced Kiss and Jimi Hendrix and all of that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Then some kids walked in and they said, "Hey, you look like a rock star. Like, who are you?" And I said, "I'm a bass player." And they said, "Hey, we know a band in California." They were from California. They were vacationing in New York. They came to see Twisted Sister play, and I said, "Well, I know those guys. They're friends of mine. Like that." And they got all excited, and so they said, "We know a band that you would be perfect for in California." I said I could never see myself leaving the East Coast to go to California. When you audition for a band, it's usually within reasonable driving distance.
Right.
You don't fly across the country to audition for a band, which is what I did.
Right.
And started calling me about, I don't know, maybe a month later, and it was Blackie Lawless.
Oh, wow.
So I was plus I was back playing in cover bands and stuff. We don't have demos. Cover bands don't do demos.
Right. Yeah.
I have ads, from the clubs I played at, but so I said, I don't know who you are. I don't know anything about you. And so he sent me a demo, and it was pretty heavy. It was really, really heavy stuff. And I said, I don't have a demo to send you, but he says, well, you got a big recommendation from the people I got your phone number from. So we'll fly you to California and we'll try it out, see what happens. And I said, all right. So and I don't know where he got the money from to fly me to California because he was broke. I don't remember where he said he got the. I think he borrowed the money or something. But
oh, dang!
So they flew me to California. This was first week of February, 1982. And so I get to the airport. They pick me up. Blackie takes me to his house. Randy and Tony took my stuff to Randy's rehearsal studio, Magnum Opus. And after the we're waiting for the jet lag to kind of wear off. Blackie took me out to the Troubadour. Blackie took me to the Troubadour. Oh, wow. He took me to the Rainbow.
Wow.
My first time seeing these clubs,
Mhm.
and he walked into the Rainbow. I already knew Punky Meadows from Angel, so he was standing right in the doorway. He was like, "Wow, what are you doing here?" I came to try out for this guy's, and Bruce Kulick was there at the doorway.
Oh wow.
Blackie,
Okay.
Blackie takes me over to the table to sit down. And who comes sauntering in but David Lee Roth comes walking up the aisle,
Wow.
that typical David Lee Roth grin, and sits himself down at our table. And it's like one of those pinch me moments. I mean, I'm sitting here my first time in
Right.
Hollywood, David Lee Roth sitting at the table with me, like that. And
I know.
that's the
Right.
first
Oh,
time.
wow.
It's the first time I've encountered him. Was that moment.
That's
So
crazy.
anyway, so
That's amazing.
uh, it took 2 nights for some reason. They showed me the songs. It was like 5 songs. They were not difficult. I sat there, watched him go through it a couple of times, and he says, "All right, come on up, plug in and play," which I did.
Right.
And I picked up the songs. They were fairly simple. And he says, "Well, we want to try it again." So that was February 4th. We took a break. February 6th, something the 6th or the 8th was, I have it written down somewhere. We went back and I went over it again. And as of February 6th, 82, he says, "You got the gig. You're in the band."
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, he'll never admit that. He denies I was ever in the band. So
Yeah, I read the articles. That was crazy.
he said, the name of the band was Sister. It wasn't Wasp yet.
Wow. Okay.
And so, he had it was like a pentagram with the word sister in lowercase letters.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I got it. This is going to be a new band. I need a new name. I need a new image. I don't know what I'm going to do. He goes, "I've done all this crazy stuff out here. We got to do something new."
Okay.
So I don't know, about a month later or so, February, March. Yeah. I got a phone call from a friend in New York. I was on the phone. I was walking around outside on the extension, and I was kicking over leaves. And I kicked over, like I say, this story. I kicked over a leaf, and there was I saw this, like a yellow jacket or a hornet. And I
Okay.
stepped on it. I stepped on the movie. The stinger was moving in the tail.
Okay.
And I go back in the house, and I said, "Hey, you know how you were looking for a new name for the band?" And he says, he's like this. He's watching the Yankees game on TV. He looks up at me. He goes, "Yeah, what do you got in mind?" And I said, "Remember the old TV series that ran opposite Batman? It was called The Green Hornet?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I just stepped on a wasp outside." And they sat there, and he's looking at the ceiling. He goes, "That's a good idea. Keep thinking like that." And so that was it until the next rehearsal. And after the rehearsal, we had a band meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, and Tony, so what, Randy wanted to call the band Hellion. He says, because that's what we call bad kids in Texas, was Hellion. And I says, well, there's already a band in Hollywood using that name.
Oh, right.
So Tony goes, what is it? Blackie goes, Wasp. So Tony goes, Wasp? Who names a band after a bug? And I said, the Beatles?
Right.
Scorpions?
Yes, exactly.
So that was it. That at that moment, that makes all 4 of us co-founders of a brand new band, right?
Yeah. And you came up with a name technically, so.
and Blackie, what does WASP mean? He says, we ain't sure, pal.
Huh? That's
WASP. we ain't sure, pal.
That's no.
That's because he doesn't want to admit it. He doesn't want to credit me with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
eventually it came to wind up meaning we're all side players. You know,
wow.
I mean, because it's like it's always been Blackie's band and extra guys. You know,
You're right.
and so I've seen an interview with Randy Piper
Mhm.
on Full and Bloom Music, and I said, so was Rick in the band? He goes, well, yeah, he played with us for a little while, but I guess it wasn't working out. I don't know. And
Right.
he goes, yep, absolutely. He goes, I can't take that from him. Rick did come up with the name. He goes, I don't know. I think a wasp stung him in the hand or something. I don't remember the story. He goes, but Blackie put the periods in it. He goes, so he says Blackie stole the name from Rick.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, and so while I was outside, I was around the corner from Blackie's house, doing my clothes at the laundromat, and I was looking at the newspaper, and it was a promo shot of Mel Gibson from Road Warrior with the leather jacket and the leather pants.
Hmm.
He had the shotgun in his holster like that with the dingo dog next to him.
Hmm.
And I took the picture back to Blackie, and I said, "This would be a great image, a black leather image." Like he goes, "No, we'll scare off the record labels. We got to do a demo first." And what do you think? What was their first image at their very first show? They
Yeah.
looked like They looked like Road Warrior.
Yeah. That's crazy. Wow.
So anyway, so we did the. It was now rehearsing with the band. Whenever Blackie could get a ride because his car wasn't working, so we'd always have to borrow a ride or have Mike Solon come and drive us to rehearsal. Now, Mike Solon is one of the only people who will not get involved in the dispute. Um, he's Mike Solon is the brother of Eddie Solon, who was the Ace Frehley's guitar tech
Oh, okay.
in early Kiss, and so and Mike is also the bartender in the Blind in Texas video.
Hmm.
When they walk in and they go, where he go, Blackie says, we're here to do a gig, and the bartender goes, what's the gig? That's Mike Solon. That's the guy who used
Oh,
to drive us
wow.
to rehearsal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So Randy comes out with the old reel-to-reel tape recorder,
Hmm.
and we recorded. Now we have 6 songs. I co-wrote the 6th song with Blackie. It's called "Master of Disaster," and
Oh, yeah. Okay.
so we recorded the 6 songs, and he was real happy. He's made put my copy on a cassette. He was you don't see Blackie smile very often, but he
Hmm.
smiled. He heard the tape. He goes, "This sounds friggin' great."
Okay.
So now he calls up Don Atkins photographer, to do a band photo session.
Hmm.
He says, "Don," I goes, "I got a bass player. Let's do some pictures." So we go over to Don's parents' house. I think it was Gardena or Torrance or something. And he, we used the same blue tarp that he used for Motley Crue and all the other bands that he shot.
Hmm.
And we did some promo pictures, just kind of to see what we would look like, I guess.
Hmm. Right.
He and Tony and Randy look like a bunch of criminals. you know, Blackie's making some scary face, and Tony looks like he just woke. Tony looks like he just woke up and got off the bus. He's like, no. Anyway, by the end of May, Blackie stops talking to me. I'm like, oh, something must be bothering him. I don't know.
Okay.
And then finally, it's just a couple of days go by. And he says, "All right, we got to talk." I'm like, all right, what's the matter? What's on your mind? I didn't see this coming. And he sits me down. He goes, "It's not working out. The guys aren't happy, so you're out of the band."
What?
Just like that.
Wow.
And he says, and he was very specific. He said, you're not to own any pictures of the band with you in them. That's intent. Right there.
Yeah.
That's the plan. I don't want any traces of you in the history of this band.
Wow.
So and then all of these years, people go up to Blackie. Rik Fox says he was in the band, and Blackie's like, "Seriously, you gonna believe him?" Well, yeah, power attracts power. If I had gotten into a situation where I was on the same A tier level as like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest, like huge, big band,
Right.
then Blackie would say, "Oh yeah, Rick was in the band because power and power attract each other." But
Hmm.
because I'm not at his level, so they're going to believe him over me, even though I've got the proof and the evidence, which he denies.
Yeah. Right.
So
Hmm.
I I was cut off. Now I'm in LA with I don't know anybody. You
Yeah.
know. So there was a girl I met. She lived on Clark Street, which
Mhm.
is just up the block from the whiskey. It was the same
Right.
building where Motley Crue was living.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay.
uh, it was 1140 North Clark Street. She let me. She came pick me up, and she let me stay at her apartment. She was a escort.
Ah.
You know,
Nice.
she worked for a woman called Madame Alex, which was an older woman who
Hmm.
ran a stable of escort girls.
Okay.
You know, and Heidi Fleiss was one of the girls in that group.
Ah! I like no way. Wow.
The girls that were working out of the apartment. Her name was Roxy. I don't remember what her real name was. Her name was Roxy. And Nikki Sixx was living next. The rest of the band, Motley Crue, had moved out. Nikki was living next door. Still, he was the last. He was the last one there. That's how I met him. And I met
Nice.
Tommy coming through the building like that. And so I had to try now and network to meet bands, and I was just going to the clubs and trying to see
Yeah.
who was who. I looked like I was out of place because I guess my New York image was different from what LA was doing, and so
Yeah.
people would look, they think, "Who's that guy? What's his story?" Like that. I don't know. Anyway, I had jammed with, auditioned for the first guitarist in Dokken before George Lynch was in the band. So,
Oh wow.
there's trivia. Um, I jammed a couple of times with Hellion.
Okay.
Nothing really happened out of that. Yeah. I played for a few months. I auditioned and jammed with a band called Warlord for a few months.
Oh okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
that didn't go anywhere. And then one day I said to him, "So when we finally get a singer, we're going to start booking gigs, right?" And they looked at me like a deer in the headlights. Like, what do you mean gigs? What do you
What
mean
do you mean?
gigs?
What do you mean
We're not
gay?
a live band. We're going to be a recording project.
What?
I said, "Well, I wish you would have told me that when I first walked in the door." I said, I'm a
Yeah.
live player."
What the
Thank you, but
hell? A
thank you,
recording project.
thank you, but no, thank you. And I packed up
Wow.
my bass in magazine. I put an ad in Music Connection magazine, and Ron Keel saw it and called me.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I like your ad. It looks professional. People have mentioned your name around town. That guy with the hair. It was always that guy with the hair.
The guy with the hair.
Because Punky Meadows had the perfect hairstyle. You know,
Mm.
and my hairstyle was exactly like his.
Oh, okay.
So they always pointed, said that guy with the perfect hair. So
Nice.
anyway, yeah. Anyway, so meanwhile, I just seen Steeler play at the Roxy. And I was there with Eric Carr, from Kiss,
Oh,
and
wow. Yeah.
they blew me away. It was like, wow, this band's. But unbeknownst to me, they had done a showcase for all the record labels in LA, and nobody was interested. So I guess the way
Oh.
Ron tells it, he was up against all of the other bands in Hollywood, like Motley Crue and Rat and so on and so forth. The guys
Right.
he had from Nashville, from where Steeler came from,
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't compete against that kind of look. They didn't look like that.
Oh, wow.
So Ron wanted guys that already looked like they were signed, like from a signed act.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess that's kind of a compliment, I guess. I don't know. So I met with Ron, and he gives me a cassette, of songs to learn. He says, no promises. Learn the songs, come back, and we'll see what happens from there. I said, all right, fair enough. And then I took the songs, I learned them, I went back, and he and I just played, which was nothing more than 3 gutted storefronts that was overrun with roaches. It was roaches everywhere. That's why it was the joke. It was called the Steeler Mansion. Because it was anything but a mansion. It was anything but a mansion, you see. It was about as Spartan as you could get. The guy Ron and the drummer Mark was sleeping on mattresses on milk crates.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
And eating top ramen. That was if that was on a good night.
Oh,
on
what a good night.
On a bad night, they'd split a bologna sandwich, I guess.
Prison chow.
Serious.
Prison chow. I love it.
It's these $1 million. When you walk into the rehearsal where they lived,
yeah,
it's like being just in the poorhouse.
Oh damn. That's
so
crazy.
the new drummer Mark Edwards, he came back from Texas. He was out of town. Sets his drums up, and we started rehearsing 3-piece like that.
Okay.
And so we got really, really tight. Ron was happy. Mark was happy. I'm now working out rhythm section stuff with the drummer, bass and drums, rhythm section stuff, like that, getting tight. And Ron gets on the phone with Mike Varney. He says, I need a guitar player. And he'd already been talking to Mike Varney. So we arranged to fly Malmsteen here from Sweden.
Oh wow.
And it's just
Yngwie Malmsteen.
The chemistry didn't click
Really?
The chemistry didn't click from day one. Yeah.
Oh.
Because, Yngwie's reputation speaks for itself. I don't need to go there.
Right.
But imagine him at age 19. He was all full of piss and vinegar. So we start going over the songs, and he's like, I'm not really crazy about these songs. So we do something to make them more exciting.
Okay.
And that didn't sit right with Ron. So
oh damn.
We had to start auditioning other guitar players while Yngwie was there, like staying at our place.
Damn.
So
that's crazy.
There's that, on that side of the house. So after about 5 or 6 guitar players in, and it's not working out, Yngwie finally comes over and says, "Listen, all right, I get it. I'll play the game. Let's do this." So we start rehearsing with Malmsteen, and it gets really, really tight. Sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not playing Steelers stuff. I'm jamming with Yngwie playing Scorpions and Deep Purple songs because his 2 favorite guitar players were Uli Roth and Ritchie Blackmore.
Right. Okay.
And so he liked it that somebody knew those songs, so we could play with those as well. So when we weren't playing Steelers stuff, we would jam on those. Of course, he conveniently forgets all of that. So, yeah. So, I want to say the first week of February of '83, Ron told me I was officially in the band on December 28th, which was my birthday, 1982. Yeah. So about 7 months after WASP, I'm now in one of the top biggest heavy metal bands in Los Angeles, which is what put me on the map. So for which I'm grateful. So Yngwie comes in. He starts rehearsing. We're rehearsing like around the clock, literally, all through February. And our first gig was March 11th at a place called the Country Club in Reseda.
Oh, okay.
All right. And we were opening for the Hughes Thrall Band. Which was Thrall and Glenn Hughes.
Okay.
Glenn Hughes being the bass player from Trapeze and Deep Purple.
Oh, right.
Pat
Okay.
Thrall, I saw Pat Thrall a couple of years earlier in New York City at the Palladium when he was in Pat Travers' band
Oh, okay.
during the Boom Boom Octos the Lights tour.
Hmm.
Okay? And that's when they had Tommy Aldridge on drums, who later went to Whitesnake.
Oh, yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so we do our show. We get on stage, and for anyone who remembers the country club, in front of the edge of the stage was a big, heavy red velvet curtain.
Oh, okay.
And they'd raise the curtain, as when the band's getting, and the curtain goes up. The curtain goes like this. It takes my mic stand with it, so it's now my mic stand's hanging in the curtain. Like this. We had to stop, put the curtain back down, pull the microphone back away from the edge of the stage. Anyway, so we go on, and it's gangbusters. We brought down the house. The place was packed.
Okay. Nice.
Momstein says, "Oh, there was only maybe 30 people there." No.
What?
It was packed. I'm here to tell you, it was packed.
It's 30 people.
And I look over my shoulder at Pat Thrall standing in the doorway of the stage in the wings, watching us like this. He's watching Malmsteen.
Nice.
Nobody's ever seen anything like that. Was Malmsteen's debut, and
oh, that'd be incredible.
Okay, so I mean, I'm the first bass player to go toe to toe with him on a daily basis, in the U.S.
In the U.S.,
Pat Thrall's going watching Malmsteen,
right? I mean,
and after the show, he goes, "Where did you get this guy?"
Right?
I think Sweden. I don't know.
Right, Sweden,
the country that gave us ABBA. What? I don't know.
Right, ABBA.
So you got an ABBA on one end and Malmsteen on the other. So I says to Pat Thrall, I said, "Do I look familiar to you?" He goes, "Kinda." I said, "I was in the front row when you played with Pat Travers at the Palladium a few years ago." And he goes, "Ow." So I said, here we are playing the same stage. My debut in Los Angeles. How cool is that? And I said, and by the way, I have both of your Automatic Man albums, which was a solo project he put out.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't a very big seller. It was a very eclectic type of music. But the fact that I pulled that out of my butt, I said, I've got both of your Automatic Man albums. He goes, "Oh man, thank you." So when a big star releases an album that doesn't go anywhere, and a stranger comes up to him and says, "I have both of those albums in my collection. Right. I love them." That makes their day.
Well, yeah, most definitely.
I did the same thing with Ken Hensley at the NAMM show.
Oh, yeah, NAMM. Yeah.
When he was working for St. Louis Music Supply. Keyboard player next to John Lord. I said, "I'm a huge Uriah Heep fan from 1972 on." I was in high school. I said, "Next year, if you're going to be here at NAMM, I'm going to bring my copy of your solo album." He goes, "All right." I figured I went in one ear and out the other. Who am I? I'm nobody, Next year at NAMM, there he was, St. Louis Music Supply. And I walked in, I went up to him, and his solo album, Broad Words on a Dusty Shelf. I said, "You remember me from last year?" He goes, "He looked familiar." I said I was going to bring you a solo album. You were going to sign it? He goes, "Oh, yeah. I said, "Here it is." He looks at the album. He goes, "Oh, you're the other person that bought this." That's exactly what I quote him. You're the person that bought this. Meaning, but he just stood there and he looked at it, and he got the pen and he signed the album cover for me, and he stood there and I swear I could see the tears forming in his eyes.
Oh,
that made his day. That made his weekend.
Yes,
I know how that feels. I was always the kind of guy that was still a fan of the bigger stars, but now I'm playing on stages with those stars.
Yeah, right.
So to be that connection between the next tier and the tier below, I know what that feels like. So when I bring my hero an album and they sign it and it makes their day, what's the saying? Success is measured by the value you bring to another.
Right.
And so that made it worth it. I had Ken Hensley's autograph. He was a happy guy for the weekend and whatever. So anyway,
Nice.
so that was that. I was with Steeler for about December, January, February, March, April, May, 6 months.
Oh, okay.
We were gigging everywhere. We played the Roxy. We supported Vandenberg. We played Perkins Palace. We supported Quiet Riot right when Mental Health went to #1 in Billboard.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was insanity. It was insanity.
That's
The
huge.
Perkins Palace was beyond capacity. Like that. So this was not your daddy's Steeler. This was like the new Steeler. And then by the end of May, we did our last show at the album lineup. It was at a place called Radio City, next to the club, the Woodstock in Orange County, for the people in California. And we were supposed to have a band meeting the next day, which never happened. And the drummer, Mark Edwards, comes up to me and says, Malmsteen left. He's now joined a band called Alcatraz.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay. Around that was at that time. Wow. Okay.
And he says, and we're just scrapping everything and restarting. So he says, you're out of the band.
Damn.
So I was out of the band. Start over. So that's when Steeler had several more lineups before Ron went to Sabbath and did a project with Black Sabbath, and then that didn't pan out, and then he reformed, came back as Keel. And it was Keel ever since.
Oh, yes, I remember Keel. Okay, yeah, right, yeah.
So there's that, and then so after Steeler, I didn't want to let any moss gather. So again, I'm still new in LA. I'm trying to network. I don't know a lot of people because when I was with Steeler, we were sequestered. We didn't go out that often, so I wasn't out at the clubs mingling, with people. So I had somebody put out for me some public promo, some press promo saying Rik Fox is at a Steeler. He's putting a new project together. I figured, which I did. I bumped into Gene Simmons at Record Plant, and he said, "Put your own band together. Do your own thing." And I said, "All right." Because I was part of the Kiss universe before it was Kiss. To jump back, I was when I was in high school. I was dating one of Peter Chris's sisters.
Oh, wow!
Holy! So I knew him. I knew Peter before he was in Kiss.
Oh, wow!
So we would go. He would invite us to come watch them rehearse. It was just Peter, Gene, and Paul in their loft on 23rd Street in New York. A lot of people don't know this. There's a lot of Kiss fans who don't know this. I get excluded from a lot of Kiss conventions and stories and things like that, and events, because I'm not on their radar. They don't know that I was before. This is before Ace Frehley was in the band.
Oh, wow!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Form before they were called Kiss, like that. But Lydia Chris mentioned me in her book, which I'm grateful for. And then I did an interview, and they used some of my pictures, my early Kiss pictures. Ken Sharp wrote a book called Nothing to Lose, The Making of Kiss, 1972 to 75. So I'm in that book. Okay. So that gave me a little bit of coverage in that. And then my pictures of Kiss from that Fillmore East promotional show were illegally copied, and somebody was selling them to fans around the world, not knowing that those pictures were mine.
Oh, wow.
So I would subsequently see my photos on bootleg financial wherewithal to go hunt these people down and get my property and my money back from them. So it is what it is, you know. Anyway, so I get introduced to a keyboard player outside the Troubadour, who looks a little bit like Greg Giuffria from Angel, and he says, "Well, you know, I'm a keyboard player, and we're both fans of Angel." I said, "Well, maybe we can put something together. It's like a cross between Angel and Judas Priest, Rainbow, real heavy." He goes, "Yeah, yeah."
Okay.
So I just started grabbing people that I knew of vaguely, who you know, a drummer, a singer, a guitar player,
right?
And we put the band together. We started rehearsing, and nobody in these nobody knew who they were. All these guys are like complete unknowns in L.A.
Wow.
Okay, I'm the only guy in the band. Sold out the Troubadour, sold out the Country Club. You know, everywhere we played. So I had a bankable commodity at the box office. People would come to see whatever I put together, like that.
Wow.
And so I said, if you guys can't come up with a name in 2 weeks, we're going to call it Sin. And they were like, no. That was a name you had in New Jersey. We want something new. I said, hey, I'm giving you 2 weeks. If you can't come up with a better name than Sin in 2 weeks, we're going to call it Sin. 2 weeks came by. I said, well, what do you got? Singer, nothing. Keyboard player, nothing. Drummer, nothing. Guitar player, I don't know. Guess what, guys? It's going to be called Sin.
Oh, there you go.
So when I left the band, they didn't want to release. They didn't want to give up the name.
Oh wow!
You know, we had a fight over the name, and I own the rights to it. So
okay, gotcha.
We came, right out of the gate. We were headlining every show. Almost every show we did. We were headlining.
Wow.
And then we went back. We played Perkins Palace with Armored Saint, and Odin opened. Malice was there. We did a lot of really big shows. But like I said, 6 months down the road, down the way, they all had big heads, and they're all I was getting pushed out of the writing. They brought in a manager. They wanted me to sign a contract. I said, who is this manager? I don't know who she is. What's her track record? What's the track record? What's her career? What's her resume?
Right.
They said, well, okay, well, if you want me to sign a contract, let me take it to a lawyer and have him look,
right.
Troublemaker. Just because I didn't want to, I want to just sign the contract. I want to have a lawyer look at it. They all now I'm trouble.
As you should.
I'm the problem guy.
You were being smart.
We get in the studio. We start recording what would be our first album with Bill Matoya from Metal Blade Records, who was engineering.
Hell yeah.
And the boil got to a point where it popped. It was like before there was Spinal Tap, it was a Spinal Tap moment. and there was just too much testosterone in the room. I said I had it up to here. That's it. I'm out. See ya. And I put my bass in my. I'm trying to be as professional as I can.
Right.
You hear what's going on in there. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. This is not kindergarten. You see. And so that was it. I walked out of the band.
Oh dang.
And now they're playing the clubs using Sin. I'm like, no, you can't use Sin. I own the name.
Right.
So this battle went back. The battle went back and forth for a couple of months. Eventually, my attorney came in and showed them the error of their ways, and they changed it to Jaguar. Moving on.
Oh, they became Jaguar. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah.
And as they tell the story, they were trying to command. And they were all sitting around drinking. They were drunk, and somebody said the word Jaguar incorrectly, and it sounded like Jaguar. And they went, "All right, that's the new name of the band, Jaguar." Anyway, to make a long story short, too late.
Love it.
Right about that time, call it fate. I don't know, kismet. I get a phone call. I don't know how he got my number. It was a guitar player that I played with in back in New York, in Jersey, Staten Island. He was in a huge band in Long Island called Alien.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They put out an EP on the Mongol Horde label with Thor and Takashi. They were on that label.
Right.
He says Alien broke up. He goes, the bass player got busted in a drug thing. He's in jail.
Oh, damn.
He goes, I heard Kiss is auditioning guitar players. Can you submit my name? I said, Jay, you left me with a $400 phone bill back in Staten Island. You want me to put you in for Kiss? Oh, come on, man, please. That was so long ago. Yeah. I said, look, they already have a guitar player. At that point, Vinnie Vincent was already in the band.
Oh, okay. This is when Vinnie Vincent came in. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. This is now we're talking 1983.
Right. Yeah.
83, my band Sin just kiboshed, and I said, I'm reforming. You want to come out to California and join me?
Mm-hmm.
He said, all right, I'll bring the other guitar player with me and the singer. And I went, all right. They packed everything in the van, the guitar player, and they drove across the country. Mm-hmm. I was living in Venice at the time.
Oh, okay.
And they showed up, and that's when I met Frank Starr, who eventually, after Sin, he went on to be the singer for the Four Horsemen. But it was Frank and Richie and Jay, my guitar players, and we put Sin together in the back of an RV. I had the number of a drummer that I was friends with. He opened up one of the shows for our other lineup of Sin. He was really good. I liked him. So we brought all our gear over his place. We started booked. The Troubadour was booking me for a gig, and the drummer was not even solidified yet in the band.
Dang.
It's happening that fast.
Wow. And
so, yeah, we took some pictures real quick. I started making outfits for the guys in the band.
Oh, wow.
I started doing. I did the costuming. I did everybody's hair. I did everybody's makeup. I was wearing all these different hats. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's amazing.
And so our first show, right out of the gate, Troubadour headline, packed. Club was packed.
Oh, wow.
Everybody came to see the new Sin.
Nice.
After all the controversy, they wanted to see what the new band was. And we were heavier. We were closer to Judas Priest. We were like Judas Priest and Twisted Sister. Who's joining us? I see other cameras floating around here.
We got hold on. We got Nicky Ferrari's coming on.
Oh, am I taking too long?
We got Nicky Ferrari's on coming on. And just people are popping in, you know what I mean? I don't know where Amy is. My co-host Amy.
Yeah, I've seen her on the other broadcasts. Anyway, Dana Strum came in, produced the band. We had an incredible album master demo. And Vinnie Vincent wound up stealing one of the songs because Dana was also the bass player in Vinnie Vincent's band, Invasion, at this point. So that caused a lot of friction. And Dana was working with our manager, who was out of Management 3, which was Jerry Weintraub's company in Beverly Hills. It was a really convoluted mess like that. It was.
That is crazy.
So anyway, it tells me now, the idea was we wanted to get you signed to Chrysalis and take you out on the road and have you open for Vinnie Vincent's band, with us. But that never materialized. The whole thing fell apart.
Damn.
Mark Slaughter actually sang the tracking vocals on our demo.
Oh my God, Mark Slaughter! Wow.
That was courtesy of Dana Strum. Yeah, Dana Strum brought Mark in, and he sang the tracking vocals. And then another singer came in and sang over Mark's vocals like that. But yeah, you see, all of us, we were all the dots connect between
That's
all of us.
crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the whole thing fell apart. I wound up playing with another band at Dana, Ronnie James Dio's management.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Burn, I went to Surgical Steel out in Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
And I recorded their album with them, and then the backing fell out, so the whole project got shelved.
Oh, damn.
So now I'm back in touch with. There's a guy at Metallic Blue Records, Jake Dowdle. He's involved with Surgical Steel, and to bring us up to date, they're going to be re-recording a lot of Surgical Steel's material, and I'm supposed to come in and record on the stuff that had Derek Kendall singing, which is when I was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm supposed to be involved again with Surgical Steel, and then right after that, they want to put out an album with my Sin stuff on it.
Oh, okay.
So the Sin stuff will finally get to see daylight, probably in next year, 2020.
Oh, wow.
26. In the meanwhile, a lot of people know that Steeler is still together. Mitch Berry is on guitar. We recorded on some stuff already for Ron, but we just did last year. We did our first new song in 40 years.
Oh, wow.
It's called "Give Me Guitars or Give Me Death," which is it's up on YouTube.
Hmm.
And it's getting like thousands and thousands of hits. And you know what? There are people on YouTube where you can buy the hits. You can buy the numbers. So it looks like you're attracting a lot of people. Nobody's paying to buy hits. This is just straight legit people clocking in and saying, I like this, I like this, I like this. You know, we hit around 50, 60,000 in the first four months, I think. Like that.
Nice.
So the new Steelers song is up. When he has time for we'll be doing a new Steeler album.
Oh, so wow!
The first new Steeler album in 40 years.
Holy heck.
Like that. So I'm waiting for that to come in. And last August, there was a festival in Branson, Missouri, called Retromania Live, and it had all these acts from the 80s. Tiffany.
Oh, wow.
Hold on. Quiet Riot, Vince Neil, Tom Kiefer. Did I say Quiet Riot? Lou Graham.
Oh, wow.
Night Ranger.
Oh, yeah.
So all of these bands played this festival, and Stephen Pearcy from Rat.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I listen, can I come in and hang out with you guys? He says, yeah, sure, no problem. We'll get your pass. I said, great. He contacts me back. He goes, hey, you want to jam? I said, you mean with you guys on stage? He goes, yeah. He goes, learn You Think You're Tough. I said, all right. So I learned it. I watched their cues on YouTube, the live version, so I know where the cues were.
Okay.
And I got down to Branson, and he says, come on after Way Cool Jr.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I did, and their bass player, Matt Thorne, who was, in Rough Cut and Sarge and,
right.
Rat, all those bands back then. I haven't seen these guys since the 80s.
Wow.
And so they brought me up, and they had Blast Elias. Blast played with Slaughter. He plays with what's that Trans-Siberian Express.
Oh, yeah.
Christmas band. So Blast is like right up there, top tier drummer. And I'm like, wow, I get to meet the guy for the first time like that. And he was still listening to You Think You're Tough on his headphones, because they said the last time we played this, we had a couple of hiccups. We forgot some parts.
Oh, wow.
So it's a good thing, I did my homework.
Mm-hmm.
And it came time, they brought me on stage, and there's Rik Fox from WASP and Sin and Steeler and from the 80s, and we launched into the song. We did the song, and at the end, Steve goes, hey, his wife, Christy, videotaped it. That's on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
and she took a bunch of really great pictures. So I was grateful for that, like that, And of course, the next day, everybody was on the production staff and the production crew all hit me up for friendship requests on Facebook. So that was a nice little byproduct. I got to hang out with Dana because Dana Strum played with Vince Neil's band the next night with Quiet Riot.
Oh, okay.
And I got to after sound check, we went in the dressing room and we sat and we talked and we worked out a lot of our issues from over the years and buried the hatchet, so to speak.
Well, that's good.
And he explained to me everything that happened with Vinnie Vincent. And I got an earful of stuff that the majority of them, some really off the wall stuff that it's pretty shocking stuff, but
wow.
I can't go into that now, but anyway, so, and I said to Dana, let's do a picture, you and me shaking hands, because the folks back home will never believe this. So we took some pictures and we're shaking hands, and I posted that on Facebook, and the whole world went, oh my God, Rik Fox and Dana Strum, friends, what? I gotta say, on the drive home from Branson, I felt good. It felt like something was off my shoulders.
That's good.
Now, if only Blackie Lowes would go, hey, world, you know what? I've been lying to everybody on that. That would be perfect. That's the bucket list right there.
On his deathbed. No.
Yeah, deathbed confession.
Deathbed confession. Rik Fox was actually in WASP. He came up with the name.
So I don't know, 2017, 18. I was playing with a UFO tribute band in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty cool. Strangers in the Night, which was named after the live album, because we played the whole live album.
Mm-hmm.
And that gig got me a gig with Child in Time, which was the Deep Purple tribute band.
Oh,
so I was with them, and we were, my last show was headlining the Whiskey before we left California, my late wife and I, and we moved here. So we wanted to get out of California, and we got here in right at the end of winter in 2021, February 2021. And she was a horse trainer, and so all the horses came with us and all that, blah blah blah. And then by May of 2022, her cancer came back and took her, and she's gone.
Oh.
So that's I'm in Missouri, sitting on this, and that's it. There's a hell of a lot going on here musically. There's an 80s tribute band out of Springfield, Missouri, called Machine Gun Symphony. And the singer, Jay Stevens, he's like the rock star of 104.7 The Cave, which is like the big classic rock station out of Springfield. And so when I connected with him on the internet, he says, I know who you are. He says, yeah, come hang out with us. And hanging out led to, hey, you want to come up and play? So, I go, whenever I get to their shows, I go up and do, one or two songs with them like that, just kind of gives me something to do. I don't think people today know what a sandwich board means, but it's kind of like advertising,
Yeah.
And I go up on stage, and Jay goes, hey, it's Rik Fox from WASP and Steeler in Missouri. People don't know who Steeler is. I heard of WASP.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds familiar. But I don't know who Steeler is. So, and they're not gonna know who Sin is. So, Missouri is like a bubble.
Yeah,
Missouri is the place where big rock bands go around the state.
That's sad.
Like 3 hours for me.
Yeah,
So much crime in St. Louis.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's it. There's really not a whole hell of a lot going on here, and since the wife passed, I had to rehome the horses because I couldn't sustain their care indefinitely. It's expensive to keep horses.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Rik.
Thank you. Like I said, she was raised in Missouri, in Joplin and St. Louis, so she knew about Missouri.
Okay.
I knew nothing. Missouri's a
Right.
learning curve for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's quite an adjustment. The people are nice. They're nicer than in LA. You
Well,
in LA, it was like Rik Fox. Yeah, and so in Missouri, they go, "This is Rik Fox." They go, "Whoa, cool! Yeah, yeah, yeah."
That's crazy.
So like that. So yeah, and that's it. What do? I mow the freaking grass. Uh, I'm here in my office slash studio. This is where I practice and stuff like that, and that's pretty much it. I don't know how much time we got left. Have I taken up the hour yet?
Yeah, but I just like talking to you. I don't know, you got
No.
some amazing stories. Just, you really do.
Oh, you have no idea the stories I have.
Just like like hearing the history of everything, and like it all clicks in my mind because a lot of these bands I owned their albums, over the well, cassettes back in the day, I guess, but I'm used to that. Like I owned all the Wasp albums. I had I had quite a few different ones from what you're talking about, the different bands like Vinnie Vincent Invasion.
Great, what a
And,
great.
yeah.
They say you put on a great show with Wasp. I saw you, and I'm like, no, you didn't. I don't know what you were smoking, but I never played live with Wasp.
Oh, okay, so you were on that the demo album, the first,
No, just the first original demo.
the first original demo. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't get as far as the album,
Oh, damn.
but it
That
was it was
sucks.
it was on your knees, Hellion, BAD, Sleeping in the Fire, School Days, and Master of Disaster. Those were the songs I recorded. And they're up
Wow.
on YouTube. They've been up on YouTube for years.
Yeah. Well, I just don't understand why he won't just like admit
Who
it.
was?
Like
You
you
know,
came up with the name. He can't even admit that. That's why he put the periods.
yeah. Well, it's an interesting point. It could mean whatever you want it to mean. Okay, yeah,
Oh my God. Anyway,
yeah,
most people have a path for the name or for the what they're doing. Just
yeah. I sat down. I still have it. I drew a little picture of a wasp from my memory, what I could remember from the old Green Hornet logo from the TV show,
oh right, yeah.
and I drew that, and it looks like a wasp, but not like the one from the TV show because I didn't remember exactly how it was. And I showed it to him. I said, yeah, wasp, the bud, the concept, wasp.
Right.
Remember there was a 1950. There was things like so we're from the same age group, so he remembered all of that. But yeah, and then when Chris Holmes joined the band, they said, "So you played with Rik Fox?" He goes, "No, Rik was in the band before me." Well, Blackie said he wasn't. He goes, "No," he goes, "Rik was in the band before me." He goes, and
That's
Blackie talked shit about him all the time.
That's
So
crazy.
can I tell you?
Uh, this has been
Anyway,
it's been a really great memory lane, just like all these bands from the 80s and stuff. Just I'm like, holy crap, wow. And some of the clubs
I
you were
didn't even.
talking about, and just wow.
I didn't really get let you get a chance to ask any questions. I guess I filled in a lot of the blanks.
I just loved listening and just, you know what I mean? You don't always have to ask questions. Sometimes it's about the journey. You know what I mean? Just like listening and just I love history, especially when it comes to music. Music, TV, movies, like that type of stuff. Like I'm really big about like the history of everything. The music is amazing, but at the same time, all the stories that go with that music, and people just don't realize how much of a life there is out there.
I started to write a book years ago. I just never finished it because
I
it
think it would
takes
be
a lot of
great.
it takes a lot of discipline to make yourself sit down and write.
Yeah, yeah.
And then more stuff happens, and I go, oh, okay, short-term memory, long-term memory. Where do I got to pick from here?
I love it.
So memories out there like that. Yeah, if I put out a book, it would be like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, because it's, you know, I've got like a
No, but
million
that would be
photos.
amazing. I think you should do like the 70s era and then like 80s and like kind of like your different
Well,
eras of
yeah,
you.
there's not enough of all of that to its own volume. I mean, I have a lot of pictures.
Okay.
My dad said, write a book, use a lot of pictures. You don't have to say much. There's a lot I have to say as well. So
That's awesome.
I've got boxes and boxes of photos. You know, I've saved all this rock memorabilia from back in the '80s in Hollywood, newspapers, magazines, all that
Oh, wow.
stuff. I've all, you know, the thigh high boots. I
Mm.
got somebody who wants to buy those off me.
Oh, wow.
It's like, I'll give you $400. No, they're not for sale.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, I have millions and millions of stories. You know, like when I auditioned for Rat.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
before,
Really?
and
When at
that
what point like in the
it was
history?
before Juan Crucier, obviously.
Okay, okay.
It was they had a bass player that left the band. His name was Gene. I forgot his last name. I had already seen Rat play at the Troubadour. I saw them with Jakey Lee. I saw them with
Oh, wow.
I saw them with from Bullet Boys. He played guitar in Rat, and then Steven had me come to an audition in Culver City in a garage. And Bobby Blotzer was in the band. Robin Crosby was in the band. I think Warren Martini was already in the band.
Oh, wow. That's a name.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
and I still have the cassette of all the songs they gave me to learn. It's just no vocals on it. It's just all music,
Oh, okay.
instrumental. So I learned all the songs they gave me to learn, and I played with them. Bobby Blotzer didn't like me because I played with a pick. And there's that whole
Oh.
stupid argument of bass players. Use a pick, play with your fingers. Use a pick, play with your fingers. It comes down to personal
Personal
taste
preference. Yeah.
of how you play the attack and the feel of what you're playing.
Right.
Bass players will play with a pick. I said, "You're a drummer. I don't tell you what kind of sticks to use, do I?" You know, like that. You don't
Right.
like that. That's my New York sarcastic, sense of humor.
Yeah, I'm from Maine, so it's the same thing here. We're the same. It's the
Who cares
same
about Maine?
mentality.
Who cares about Maine? Who cares about Maine?
No, nobody really. But anyway, we have good lobster. I don't know. So I'm told.
I'm joking, of course. So I didn't get the gig, suffice to say. Juan Crucier was tied in with those guys. Blotzer knew him from the band Vic Vergot. Juan's brother Tom played with them with Dawkins. So they were already part of that little family. Juan's a great bass player and a great live player. Juan and I moved a lot similar on stage with our how we move on stage like that. We were showmen. It's called show business for a reason. So
right. Put on a show.
we were flashy bass players like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, that was my the thing with WASP with Rat. So there's lots of little memories like that. There's like thousands of dots to connect. It just depends what triggers my memory on any given subject.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited that you're going to be playing with Steeler again. And are you doing any projects right this moment, or?
Hey, Missouri.
Somebody needs to see you play.
You got anything planned? No, just the only thing I got right now is the Surgical Steel recording with them and whatever comes out of that, and then the Steel. Here's a Twilight Zone moment for you to ponder. Okay, so I played in Steeler with a guy named Jim, with a guy named Ron Keel,
Mhm.
and I played in a band called Surgical Steel with a guy named Jim Keeler.
Damn.
Let you think about that for a minute. And now these two universes are kind of rotating around each other again. Surgical
Right?
Steel Steelers. Surgical Steel. There's that.
Let's say hi to Nikki Ferrari. Come on back, man. Where'd you go?
Hi, Nick. Hey, Nikki. I think he's on my friends list.
Yes. He also works with Christina Avila. Shout out to Christina Avila.
Thank you,
PR
Christina.
extraordinaire. Woo!
Yeah.
And shout out to our friend Michelle Nugent. Michelle Nugent says she's known you since the 80s.
Oh, hippie chick. That's hippie chick.
Yes. We love our Michelle Nugent. Hell yeah.
I always see her on Jamie St. James from Black and Blue. His wife Michelle has an online like a streamcast for bling. She sells those kinds of jewelry and stuff. Like on
okay.
Friday or Saturday, hippie chick. Michelle Nugent's always in there, so we're always like talking to each other while Michelle, the other Michelle, is selling jewelry.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so there's that. And I guess that pretty much that's all I can think of at the moment. Well, do you have anything else?
Well, I don't know. I just want to thank you so much for being on here with us tonight. I've just had such a blast with you. You've just had so amazing. The stories are just phenomenal.
If you think so, thank you. I gotta say, I like your backdrop. It's better than the pizza boxes.
Yes, I agree. I said they had to go.
I was watching one of your shows, and it looked like there's a dress.
Yeah, there's a dresser, and then all my boxes.
And there's lots of boxes.
I make like t-shirts and hoodies and tote bags and other stuff like that. Those are all my packing boxes for sending stuff off to customers. But I'm like, no, maybe we should sit this way where we're, a solid background.
Yeah. The green blanket's better.
Supposed to be a green screen, but you know what I mean?
Well, it is green. You could project stuff onto it or through your computer.
Exactly. I'm working on that. I'm trying to figure that out.
We could put flames up behind you or something,
Yeah, I'm trying to I want to take my logo and kind of put it behind me or something. So I'm working on figuring that out. I managed to figure out the teleprompter piece, so that was good.
The world is your. Yeah,
exactly.
I missed that.
That's what you make of it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, Rik. I really appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
We're gonna bring on our next guest, which is gonna be Nikki Ferrari.
He's upside down. His camera's upside down.
Can I
rotate the pod bay door? Rotate the pod bay door, Hal.
Are we having fun tonight?
You guys hear me?
Yes. I turned up your volume.
Poor Rik and I, man, we kind of, the LA scene, it's like, there's so much opportunity there, but it's like, it's Ira Black and Mitch Perry and what's the bass player's name that he's always doing all the shows? Sean McNabb. So poor Rik and I get shoved off to the corners. We've got all these great bass players in LA, and we never get a chance to go up on stage and play.
Yeah.
Because we're cut out. So fuck LA.
Absolutely.
He says,
telling the truth.
I've been on the big stage. I've been invited on the big stage here in Tennessee, Nashville, 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Did I ever get invited in LA? Fuck no.
Well, there's
a lot of famous friends like Rik. They just don't care.
Nikki, rotate your camera.
They're a little clique, Yeah,
Nikki, rotate
and all their personal friends, and it's all good. Sean McNabb's okay.
I think it's just his background.
Oh, he's upside down.
Oh, is he? He looks
Yeah.
fine to me. I don't know. I can see
Who's-
him.
On my
I'm
screen, he's
upside
upside down. On my screen, you are, yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm not upside
crazy.
down on my screen.
On my screen, you're straight on, so I don't know. I'm not
I
sure
hope I'm
what's
not
going
upside down.
on. That'd be trippy, though, huh?
Love you, Rick. Love you, Rick. I caught part of your interview. It was great.
Now, what he said about the bass players in LA, that's true. There's a clique of them, and they don't
Yeah.
let anybody else in. They don't give
No,
you a chance
wow.
to get
It's
in.
all Sean McNabb on bass.
Really?
Sean McNabb, Ira Black, who's actually a friend of mine. We're both endorsed by the same company. Great
Yeah.
guy. But
It used to
it
be.
is what it is,
It used
you
to
know?
be. It used to be Sean, Phil Soussan, and Jimmy Bain, and they would never let anyone else come into the jams and play. They would dominate the bass player spots. They just rotated between the three of them, and I
Yeah.
went through that.
Yeah.
I went through that.
That's crazy.
Kind of sad. Kind of sad. Thank God I'm in Nashville now. It's like so many great musicians here, and the door's been wide open to me. But you know, I got some background, so I got some credibility. That's all. But it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
6-8 hours and looking for houses at Nashville.
Glad to get out of California. I mean, I miss the weather.
Well, yeah, I'm right there with you. I do too.
Well, me and Nikki are now getting to Tornado Alley.
Oh yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Oh my God, that's so crazy. Are you guys okay out there?
Yeah, well, I'm on my sailing yacht. I live on my sailing yacht full time now. I gave up the house. My girlfriend and our pets didn't want to stay at the house. It was only 2.5 miles down the road. So for 2 years, I paid on a lease. And, you know, it's like we were on the boat. We only lived in the house for 5 months. I really wanted to be on the boat. So I love it. It's great. I'm on a beautiful fucking lake. I'm telling you. Can I swear?
Really? Yes. This is an adult program. If I did not preface
it's like being in the Caribbean because there's 38 fucking islands on this lake.
Really?
It's amazing. There's, I think 28 of them are named, but there's 38. So it's like,
damn,
it's a great lake to sail on. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm cut off from half of it because there's a bridge. So I can't go under because my mast is too tall. But
okay.
It's pretty cool. I got my studio on the boat now, and it sleeps 7 to 9 people.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a compressed house, but I got everything, you know, shower and bathroom and kitchen, and it's cool. I love it. It's been a lot of fun. I had a great summer last year. I'm looking forward to this summer. But yep, I've just been working my ass off writing music. I've written over 100 songs in the last year. Over 100. And
wow.
I'm still working on stuff. I have so many equipment problems though. Like everything is breaking down. I couldn't download any files because my computer's down. And it was custom built by this father-son team in New Jersey. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to play any of my music or not. I posted it to Facebook, but then Facebook's fucking up, and everyone wants to cut off my files, my storage through Dropbox or whatever is full. So it's been crazy, and I'm not like everybody wants money. Give me money. So it's been crazy.
If you use this site called WeTransfer,
okay,
WeTransfer, you can transfer up to 2 gigabyte files for free.
Up to 3 gigabytes.
I think it's 2 or 3 gigs, something like that.
I need about 3.
2? Yeah, it's 2. Yeah, it's 2 gigs.
3 trillion bytes.
Well, it depends on how big your file is.
Yeah,
but it's like
crazy.
they'll send up to 2 gigs for free. That's why I don't know. That's how I always.
Size matters.
The files are too big. Nobody wants to accept the files like Facebook. I can't send any files through my emails. So it's
okay.
You know, and I haven't published any music. I really don't want to publish anything because I'm just doing demos right now, just mapping stuff out because I want to take it to the next level with the band. But try to find people that are, you know, I just had a guitar player sabotage my project. So with a drummer I've been working with for a long, yeah, otherwise we'd all be in this interview. Yeah. He got jealous because I asked him, I said, dude, I can't come up with any lyrical melodies to what you wrote. He did a whole album. He just released a solo album and submitted a whole new project, just all the guitar work. incredible.
Yeah.
But and it's totally my style and everything. But I had such a problem coming up with lyrical melodies for these songs, and he was supposed Mother's Day. He was supposed to do something that weekend, but you know it was Mother's Day, so he didn't do anything. So in the meantime, I'm working on stuff I've been working on, just cranking out lyrics and lyrics and lyrics and lyrics for songs to draw from. And I sent him a couple of tracks, and I guess it blew him away, and he got really jealous. But it is what it is, you know. The second time this has happened in my music career, I had a guitar player sabotage a project. Yep.
But this makes no sense. You know what I mean?
The first one was the guitar player from Gothic Slam.
Okay.
And you know, they were on Megaforce Worldwide. They were on their third album. I think they got picked up by Capitol or CBS or somebody. And we won the music awards for the Los Angeles Music Awards, Rock City Music Awards for Hard Rock Band of the Year in 2005.
Oh, wow.
We weren't even expecting that. We just went there because we were meeting with our producers. We had 2 world-renowned producers on that project, and I'd spent a year doing a business plan, got all kinds of money behind that project. Wow. And then we had this young singer from Florida, and that singer, he had a very unique voice. The guitar player from Gothic Slam that I'd hired was talking shit about, well, why did we have to have a chief financial officer? Well, guess what? Nobody gives you $250,000. They have at it, guys. And when the singer told me about that, I'm like, what the fuck? I had it. And I said, well, I'm going solo. I'm just going to go solo. Fuck the band shit. I'll go solo. So I hooked up with a friend of mine, John Valente, who was on the charts in mid-70s. And he started coaching me. He picked out the song for the music awards for me to submit. And I just wanted that so bad. Went to those awards and wound up getting Male Solo Artist of the Year in 2006. Huge.
Oh, wow.
And then I moved to Europe. Amazing. I had all kinds of women after me. So the granddaughter, the Queen of Fado from Portugal, who had like 10 movies out and 12 albums out, we had been talking for a year, sweetheart. And I wound up moving to Europe and wound up living there for 5 years, built a recording studio and did 4 solo albums during the course of that 5 years I lived there. I didn't even come back to the United States once to visit.
That's crazy.
But
hey, Nikki, are you
I did some great shit. I had 13 hours a day to do nothing but record.
Yeah.
So
Nikki,
some of those songs I recorded had like 250 vocal layers.
Rick has a question for you, Nikki.
Yeah, Rick. It's hard to see you, man. You're a tiny little picture.
Were you on that Stian Pion Thorson project? Oh, so both of us are on that. Yeah.
What's that?
I'm still waiting for the song to come out.
What's that?
I'm still waiting for I recorded a song. I recorded the bass tracks for a song called Plum, and Vinny Appice's on it. That'll be my 3rd time playing on a recording with Vinny, and I'm waiting for the song to come out.
I love Vinny's drumming.
Yes, we're just waiting for the song to be released.
Oh, Vinny's great. I like Vinny better than his brother because I worked with Carmine. I was auditioning for those guys. I was the original bass player for King Cobra way back '84. I think.
Wow!
And then the drummer from Rainbow, Gary Driscoll, Man on the Silver Mountain album, back in New York, he called me up and goes, "Hey, what's up, cool guy?" And I said, "Oh, dude, I'm so depressed. There's no money, living at the house." And they had done a 5-song demo at Pasha Recording Studios with Spencer Proffer, I think was his name. All through the little Rocktrons, the Tom Scholz Rocktrons, real thin sounding, short hair, all graduates from GIT. And I was the only one with long hair, and he's like, "You gotta color your hair." I had long blonde hair down the middle of my back, and Gary Driscoll from New York called me up, and he said I was on a plane like the next day to New York. He had this backer from New York that had all kinds of money because these investors need all these tax write-offs. So we had a house between Ithaca College and Cornell University up on the hill overlooking the lake. And we had like rental cars and gas cards and girls and food and drinks. We didn't do shit. But one thing about that though is we auditioned Joey Belladonna.
Oh, whoa.
right? And I wish I had that tape recording. It was a cassette recording I made of Joey auditioning, because what a joke.
Wow.
I've never liked that guy. I'm sorry, but I thought he was horrible. He was horrible then. He was from Utica, New York. But yeah, I got a lot of history, you know, but it is what it is. This is a tough business to be in, I'm telling you right now. It's a crazy business, especially right now.
It can be.
But I think I got it figured out, you know. I think I got it figured out. I think I can survive in this business and actually make some money. But it's
Just when you think you got it figured out, they change it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you. Yeah. It's that's so true. Right? That is so true. It changes every freaking day. But I still think I got the keys. So hopefully, but you know, it's been a tough road. It's been an expensive road too. You know, I got my own recording studio because you know, I recorded in all these, you know, world-class recording studios like Blue Jay up in Boston. It was built underground where Rick Ocasek recorded, and
oh wow, yeah.
The Traveling Wilburys, and Amy Grant did her Grammy Award-winning album there. The girls that band that did Girls School, the Girls School. I can't remember that band's name, but they couldn't afford to record there, but they recorded at the warehouse.
Oh, Brittany Fox. Is that what you said?
Girls School. They did that song "Girls School."
Yeah, Brittany Fox.
Brittany Fox, right?
So they recorded it. The warehouse in Philadelphia used to be a high school or something. So like the tracking room was like actually had basketball hoops and everything that dropped down and could play basketball. A nice studio, and it was only like $800 a day. So they did all their basic tracks there, and the mix was done at Blue Jay, which Blue Jay costs $2,000 a day. So it's not the place to experiment. You know, when I recorded there, it took 2 days just for them to get the drum sounds up. It cost $4,000 just to get the drums sounding right. So yeah, so I got smart, and the guitar player that used to be with Gothic Slam was like educating me on all this recording gear and stuff. So I did a lot of research and bought my own stuff, which has been a blessing. So when I had built my studio in Europe, you know, and I had 12, 13 hours a day to learn and experiment and a lot of trial and error. So, you know, and I was doing like, I wanted to sound like Def Leppard, you know, vocally.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, I had multiple layers. I'd do like 200 layers. I just put it on loop and just sing all those choruses. But that turned out to be a nightmare. And this famous producer I worked with for several years, Dennis McKay, did Ingday and Jean-Luc Ponty, did, you know, all these Motown greats. And I sent the songs to him. He goes, "Oh, Nicky, I would have never recorded it this way." And he's right. You know, he used to always tell me, less is more. Let it breathe. And he's so right. But it's a lot easier to mix 8 tracks than it is 250 tracks.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm trying to keep things simple, let things breathe. You know, I'm still like over the top on a lot of stuff, but it is what it is.
It's how our minds work as creative people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they never stop. They're like,
when I did my solo, when I did my work in Europe, it was like my first time lyric writing.
okay.
And I wrote the lyrics to the music. I sat down with the music and started counting out syllables, and it just worked. It was kind of God sent, you know. It's like, and they're pretty good. The album's pretty cohesive. Everybody that's heard it, said, "Dude, it takes you on a journey." Like, oh, that's an interesting way to put it. But like now, it's like my lyric writing is just like boom, boom, boom. It's like when I put a pencil to paper, it's like just automatic, like hit after hit after hit after hit. And now I'm writing my music around the lyrics, you know, because I have a vision. So like when I listen to a classical band, you know, like classic music or something, I hear other things. I'm here like double kicks, heavy metal beats, you know. I hear something totally different.
You have to know what
I think I grew up, you know, in the backseat of my mom and dad's car listening to Motown, you know, which was great, great learning tool, because all those structures for the vocals and harmonies and stuff like that. So that was a great experience growing up. Some really great music, like songs like Downtown.
I agree.
all that Motown stuff. So that's been hugely beneficial for sure.
Right.
Jennifer, I just want to give you a huge shout out and thank you for everything that you're doing and all the support you're giving to music, because we need more people like you right now, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Usually I'm always the one thanking everybody else. So I don't know. Sometimes, even in this industry, like, I mean, I'm a musician, but I mean, I used to do like flute. So more like, because I always loved Jethro Tull. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm
surprised I never ran into you out in Hollywood.
I'm surprised you didn't either, because I did a lot. I did my own shows at probably like 7 or 8 different venues around Los Angeles.
I know, right?
I had, because I'm like a concert promoter and booking agent. I don't just do like the radio and stuff, but I'm also like a sports correspondent for WWE. I do like a lot of different worlds that people don't realize. They're always like, "Oh, I've heard of you. Why have I heard of you?" And I'm like, "Well, I was around LA. I did a lot of different concerts, but like, I like to play the smaller bands and stuff too, though. Like the up and coming artists, the people who need to get discovered.
You know what people are saying right now is they're tired of paying $300, $800 for a ticket, and they're like, we'll just go check out the local bands.
It's ridiculous.
And I just went to a Foreigner concert over the summer. Foreigner, and I can't remember who else played. A few great bands here in Nashville. And then my buddy and I, who's also a singer and a really great band, we went to some club he dragged me into and saw a band that was just as good as those bands that we saw for free, And Nashville, and downtown Nashville is off the hook. Like, I spent the last couple of days downtown, and like early, like 10 o'clock in the morning, and there's like 38 clubs just on Broadway alone. We're not even talking about the side streets. Wow. There are 4 or 5 stories, and every floor has a different band. And it kicks off at 10 o'clock in the freaking morning. It's insane. And we're talking about amazing talent. That's not my scene. Rick? I don't want to be playing Broadway, but
I said every club I played at Nashville is closed.
Blows me away.
Really?
Oh gosh! I don't know if they're making any money. I guess they're making some kind of money. They're doing it, but you don't have that in LA. It's pay to play.
It depends. Look,
we got the Rocky, the Rainbow, the whiskey.
Yeah. I'm a different breed when it comes to being a concert promoter. I believe in paying the bands. I don't do pay to play. That's ignorant to me. That's ignorant to me. Exactly. The bands need a chance. Bands need, all I say is bring some people. Bring some people in the effing door. Yeah. They pay at the door. They say, we're here to see Steeler, or we're here to see, whatever, like whoever, what band you're in. They say the name at the door. We mark it down. Every person that comes through that door, we mark it down under each band's name. Whoever is there, like, this is how many people came in. Now, you get half the ticket, and I get half the ticket.
That's fair.
So we split.
We had when I was in New York with Saber X, we're playing the Eastern Seaboard. We were like setting attendance records. We're playing like to 600 to 1,200 people. But
that's amazing.
We were making money. We had limos to every show. So we throw guitars in the trunk, arrive at the show in a limo. We wouldn't go home in a limo. I'd go home with my girlfriend because I was terrified of all the girls, but I'd sneak out the backstage door. But that was awesome when I was making money. I was making more money when I was 16 than I've ever made.
Wow.
Or 15 when I was performing, because I was in the music union at age 14 because my drummer at the time, his dad was the president of the local musicians union.
Wow. Okay.
And and I had to have an adult president and everything else. But we were doing high school dances. We were doing high school dances for $850, and that was way back in like 75, 76.
Oh damn!
So I was making like $250 a week, and that was like great money then.
Back then, yes, that was really
hell
good
yeah.
money.
Back then, you had a guy at the door with a clicker,
so you know how many came in.
Yes, exactly. The clicker. Exactly. Yeah. I was keeping a notebook. I always kept a notebook at the front desk whenever I ran the concerts. I'd have my person who would sit there and greet the people as they come in, and then we have each band we put the band names across, and we just tick 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 tick. Here we go, din 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 din.
Yeah.
Din. And then so that's how we're keeping track of all the tickets. And then I always tell bands like, look, all you do is bring some fucking people to the show. That's all you gotta do. The more people you bring, the more money you make. It behooves you to bring fucking people through the door. If you're not out there marketing, like I market, I'm telling people, okay, this is the venue we're playing at. This is the lineup. This is that. And market. But the band also has to be sharing it. Because if people don't know you're fucking playing, what's the point? You got to tell people. You got to say, hey, I'm going to play this show. That's what social media is for. That's what your website's for. That's what your Bandcamp and your SoundCloud and your whatever the fuck is for. You know what I mean? You put it out there, be like, hey, we're playing this show at the Whiskey A Go-Go on such and such a date. These are the other bands that are playing with us, blah, 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 whatever, right? You got to market it. But if you don't market, it can't be just the promoter. Like I'm the booking agent, the promoter. That's wonderful. I booked the venue. I booked the bands. I even host the show. I'm the MC. So I stand on stage. I announce the bands as they're coming on. I do I'm like Rick, like wear 50, like you too, Nikki, like wearing 50 million hats. We're doing all of it.
You have to be a entertainment lawyer. You got to be a lighting technician, a sound guy. I'm also artist management. You really want to be in this business.
I also do artist management. I had like 32 artists on my fucking label at one point. I had a stand-up comedian. I had an actor, authors, bands, different genres. I had rap and hip hop. I had metal. I had punk rock. I had 3 tribute bands, all female fronted. I had an Ozzy Osbourne tribute band. I had a Black Sabbath tribute band, and I had a Jane's Addiction tribute band, all female fronted. So I thought that was pretty badass.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. It seems like there's a lot of bands that are tribute bands that are making great money. I know one band that they got their own tour bus. They got their own tour bus. I know my old singer from Saber X is in a band called Power Slave right now. And they're doing huge shows, big productions. You know, they sound great. They've had a bunch of lineup changes, but every time they sound freaking amazing. He's a great performer. His name is Terry Palace, but one of the best frontmen I've ever worked with. I think best entertainers. But I've been fortunate. I think the reason I've become such a great bass player is because fortunately I've worked with all these world-renowned drummers, all these great drummers throughout my music career. I mean, there's been a couple that were mediocre, but the rest were just so good, you know. And I tend to push really hard. I push really hard because I attack really hard. So I tend to, almost push that tempo. And it takes a great drummer to like pull that back and hammer down and pull that back, but it pushes them even harder too. So they bang it out really loud and hard. And
nice.
But like right now, I think I'm working with a management company right now. I'm hoping they're going to pick me up. They're huge. And,
okay, cool.
For the music part, I have a personal manager, right? You know that.
Yeah, that's good.
Christina.
Yes,
Avila.
Christina Avila.
Been great. She's been amazing.
She's a PR
everywhere,
specialist.
She when I announced I was available for touring, it got a little bit out of control. I had people hitting me right and left 24/7, and it got out of control. So I reached out to her. I hadn't talked to her in like 5 years. I said, look, can you help me out? And she agreed to, to handle me. But she's been awesome because she'll check in with me in the morning. She'll check in with me in the afternoon, the evening. And, she's learned a lot from me, but I've learned a lot from her. And she keeps me posted on what's going on. And then
that woman don't stop.
Then I had auditions lined up, and she's like slamming with, oh, you want to audition for this band, this band, this band? And she's everywhere. She's like, her name is
she's
everywhere.
On it, yeah.
Anywhere I look. It's her. She's a friend of so and so and so and so and so.
I know it's the craziest thing. And she'll be like, "Oh, have you heard of this person? Or have you heard of that person?" I'm like, "I'm friends with that person."
Yeah, she's very amazing.
I'm friends with a lot of people that she's
once in a while.
Me.
She has her way of doing things, but she's been great.
Yeah,
she's been
awesome.
Personal manager.
I love Christina. Dude, that woman filled my April. May, June, July, August, and pretty much September.
Oh wow. Yeah, she's.
I mean, I already have
She's
like
hip to everything.
tons of bands,
She's
but
involved
like
in the local scene, and she's
she's amazing.
just
Yeah.
local artists and stuff, and they're great. They're fucking amazing. So she's got
Yeah,
good
she's
ear
really
for
good at what
music
she
for
does.
sure. She recognizes talent for sure, and especially good people, because she don't deal with bullshit at all. She's very
And I
sensitive.
don't
She
blame
don't deal
her.
with shit. And
Yeah,
I know she's helped a
as it
lot of
should be.
people out. She's done a lot of work for people for free. But I said, hey, you need to start charging. So I guess she's charging people now. But yeah, it's like what's that guy's name that was on the show a couple weeks ago? John from Virginia. Is it John?
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he was raving about her too. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
great.
a lot
They
of
sound
people,
great.
a lot of them.
Great band. I mean, I guess they should sound great. They've been together for like 19 years, but they're awesome.
They were really good. I know. Yeah.
For
There's some
sure.
really good
Christina's come a long way.
bands out there.
Christina's come a long way.
Rick, you got to come out and visit me in Nashville, brother.
Where at? Nashville?
Yeah, you're not that far from me.
That's 6 hours.
It's close enough, man. Better than California or somewhere else.
Right.
I'll have to put
That's
the
really not
captain
that
board
far.
on.
It's happening here. And then with all the fires in LA, a lot of people are moving here. I mean, like the film industry's moving here. There's a lot of famous artists here, like Billy Sheehan lives here. He's supposed to come out in my boat.
Oh, I know Billy. I love Billy. He's I love Billy. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Which Billy? Sheehan?
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty involved with the local scene too.
That's cool.
Which is great. But there's a lot of famous artists here from California, and I think more are moving here every day.
Oh, you were talking about John Ferreira.
Dallas.
You were talking about
New
John
York City.
Ferreira
Correct,
from
yeah.
As the World Burns.
Yeah.
I had that fucking song. I had their music stuck in my head for like a fucking week. I could not stop. I could not. It would not like leave my brain. I'd wake up hearing that his fucking music.
I can't wait to hear. I can't wait for you to hear what I'm doing. I'm trying not to publish it, but I can't wait for you to hear it. Because
yes, Boshe Bushnell, I miss you, bitch. I love you. Yes, I do need to go visit you in California.
She talks to me all the time.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to do the Backyard Bash at the Rainbow.
Oh hell yeah, that's always a good show.
But I wanted to do the anniversary show, but if I don't have a band, it's not going to happen. And I wanted to take these songs to the next level because it's going to be a lot more cohesive, and go to a greater level than what I've already demoed. It is what it is. I mean, hopefully, because like I got people saying, well, I'll work with you, but I need to have $60,000, $80,000 a year to cover my expenses. Right. So the only way to really get a band is to find somebody young who's living with their parents, and I'm not in that kind of. I don't have those kind of connections right now. I had a young drummer that was 19 years old that moved from Texas I was working with, but he wound up getting a whole bunch of attention here, and I don't know what's going on with him. So he's green. I sent him 10 songs to work on, and and I said, did you like the 2 new songs in the 10 songs? And he's like, what? Which told me he wasn't listening to them at all. So
I'm
like, okay,
Lord.
dude, well, you got something else going on. Do whatever you got to do. Didn't fire him, but he's still kind of the back burner. But great guy. Hammers down like a motherfucker. But he's green, he's young. You don't have the kind of experience that it really takes to create. If I had somebody else do the drum tracks, I said, okay, well, learn these songs, no problem, probably. But I reached out to him, I said, can you learn 30 songs in the next month? He's like, that's a lot of songs. Huh? And to me, it's like, it's too freaking easy. It's like, this is so easy. What are you people doing?
Right.
I'm mapping all the shit. I've done all the work, I've done all the work. I've done everything. I'm like multi-talented instrumentalist singer, and I don't want to front the band. I'm too shy. I'm not a front man. I just want to play the bass. I started out in guitar when I was 9, and had to make a career decision, switch over to bass. I was with the Ruffians a long time ago up in San Francisco, Berkeley actually, and we couldn't find a bass player. So I said, okay, well, I'll switch to bass. And then Brad Gillis from Night Ranger took me out to Saratoga, California, to Dan Torres' shop, and he wound up building me a Flying V bass. And I wanted to sound like Brian May's guitar, just sing, right? Which was made of oak.
Oh, yeah.
So we made it of oak, next to the body, custom made brass bridge with sleeves that went through the back and everything. And I switched to bass, which was the best move I ever made, because then as soon as I switched to bass, doors started opening up. I didn't have 12, 13 hours a day to become an Eddie Van Halen, you know? I had to work, I had to pay bills, pay the rent, buy groceries. So I switched to bass, and that was, that was cool. And I like it. Bass is not guitar. It's a very physical instrument. It's, I play long scale bass with heavy gauge strings. My hands aren't that big. It's a monster to play. And, it's like, sometimes it's like smashing your hand against a cement wall.
Right.
It's a totally different instrument. People go, oh, well, bass is easy. No, not necessarily so. If you're playing short scale and light scale strings, yeah, maybe.
Your dad, for me, had guitarist under my picture. Gee, I wonder how that happened.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, Billy Sheehan was a big guitar player before he was a bass player.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never seen him play guitar. He's always played bass, whenever I've seen him.
Yeah, when he was younger, he played guitar. And I'm from upstate New York, and I was friends with his management company. I can't remember the names, but one of the guys from his management company went to Metal Blade out in Simi Valley. Can't remember his name now, but these are all people I know. And when they had Talus, way back when Talus days, and they played Rochester, New York, at the Penny Arcade. The Penny Arcade is like a famous place where all the bands would come through. Right there on the lake, I think Lake Erie or whatever, Rochester, New York, which was that kind of shaped my future, because I just wanted to be a rock and roller at that point. So I go up there all the time to check out bands.
Bochet has a question for you, Nikki. We already know the answer for Rick, but we're going to ask Nikki this question. Do you play with your fingers?
It's a very good question. I used to play with a pick a lot, because I could, for most of the songs because of the attack. But now, almost exclusively with my fingers. I can just dance like a crazy fucker right now on those strings. But it's a little bit different,
What was that question again for Nikki?
Do I play with my fingers or do I play with this pick? Yeah, I still keep my picks, but I don't use those hard picks. I use nylon picks, and my favorite pick is it's called Darvo Control. It's a little green pick. It has a folded middle, but it's got grippies on it, because that nylon, when it hits the bass, it's not. I
like that.
Yeah, those are nice picks.
That's his.
But
yeah.
When a nylon hits the string, it's not. It's more of a thud instead of a click, because hard picks, they click, 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 click. So the nylon is more of in between a pick and your fingers, so it's not quite as noticeable. But I think it's called Darva Control picks. They're green, and they got a little bend in the middle, so you got a little bit of give, but they sound good on the strings. But I'm not even using those right now. I've just been using my fingers. I did a show here in Nashville. It was all Skid Row covers, and the way that bass player plays, you almost have to use a pick to make it sound just like him. I try to mimic people the best I can. I can mimic just about anybody's voice, as a matter of fact. I'm become a really good mimic of voice, but I used to use those picks. I used to use Dunlop nylons, and because they got the little grip, because I lose them because I hammer so hard. And a lot of times I did shows in New York, and at the end of the show, my hand would be all blood. There'd be blood spattered all over my instrument.
Oh, damn.
Because once you get that, once you really know what you're doing, you go out on stage and get that adrenaline rush. You don't even know what you're doing. You're just like hammering down. And but now I'm mostly 90% of the time I use my fingers.
Wow.
and I actually have just as much control. I can't get that real attack like with the pick, but pretty close. So, yeah, I've kind of changed things up recently because I didn't always use my fingers. I used to pick most of the time, I think. But, yeah.
Right.
And I got a couple of great bases now too, so it makes a difference. Yeah.
Nikki,
My
I
Warwick
guess
and my Spectre bases.
being on a boat on the lake, I guess your biggest fears are hurricanes and torpedoes, huh?
Do you play, Rick? Do you play with a pick most of the time or your fingers? I forget.
I do both. It depends on the feel of the song, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
I go back and
That's where
forth in
my head's
between.
at. Yeah.
But I picked up a few things from Lemmy. I play bass chords a lot, you know, because you're in a situation with one guitar. You got a lot of space to fill between, you know, the drums and what would be a rhythm guitar. So
Right.
I just fill out the bottom, you know, with some bass chords once in a while. And
Yeah,
it's different.
I guess I wasn't paying attention, but I have listened to some stuff that you've done recently, and I was like, "Fucking right on, Rick's on the money."
Which
Sounding
what in
great.
particular? What did you hear?
I can't remember, dude. I got so much going on in my life, but I try to keep on top of everybody and everything, you know.
I've been listening to your stuff, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, but I just remember it being good. I'm like,
That's the story of my
Rick's on the
life.
money.
You know, some
It
people,
bums me
some
out,
people
dude,
like
because I'm
it.
like, well, why do people? There's so many great people I know in LA and out in California. Why are they not getting a shot? You know, why aren't they playing a whiskey? Why aren't they doing the ultimate jams?
People say
It's always
I
Sean
like what
McMahon.
you're.
It's
People
always
say I
Sean
like your
McMahon.
bass. People say I like your
It's
bass playing. What in particular? To go, you know, I don't remember. And I'm like,
oh
made
my
that much
god,
of an
it's
impression.
hilarious.
Huh? Made
Well,
an impression.
I guess I just need to go back out to Cali there so I can get you guys
Straighten them
playing in
out,
some
right?
venues.
Straighten things out. Yep.
Gotta do it.
It's
Gotta make
Like
it happen.
you know, you got
for
a
example,
small click handful of promoters that are out there. It's just a few. So if you're not in that clique,
I was one of them, so that's
yeah. Well, you
yeah.
need to get back out there.
And I have my brother. My brother is out in the Inland Empire. He does a lot of
Yeah,
shows out that way.
that's probably
Youngblood
the best
Productions.
area to play if you're in California right now. They're in Northern California probably, but LA
Yeah.
is just like it's kind of a closed door unless you have a headline group, you know.
Tonight, let's see. So tonight, my one of my co-hosts, he's
Oh, Amy.
he's in a band. Shyler Staver, Mac Daddy of Metal. He's in a band, and they're playing tonight. And then my friend Amy, my other co-host, yeah, and then Amy, she has a band also. She's in Sensation, and he's in Severed One. So he's the lead singer of Severed One. We just put out some of the footage from their last show last Friday night. Fucking phenomenal. He went like hard. And then Amy is the lead singer and the bassist for Sensation out in California also. Like they're like in the San Luis Obispo area. And then Shyler and his band are more like Bakersfield kind of, or like around Bakersfield.
Cool. Yeah, I wasn't too far from Bakersfield. I was up in Montecito, Santa Barbara. I didn't want to live in LA anymore. You know, I could hop in my Porsche and shoot down there and be at the Rainbow in an hour or less.
And that's all you need. Like, you don't have to live right, in Los Angeles.
I did that. You know, I lived in Hollywood Hills, and
that's expensive.
I lived in the Valley for a while. I lived in Reseda. I lived in
Reseda's nice.
Sherman Oaks, but Encino.
Oh, Encino.
That's the guitar player I was working with. I lived in Simi Valley, and we had that earthquake back in '93. Had this beautiful house, pool, 13 orange trees, 6,000 square feet, huge house. My bedroom was like 24 by 25, and that earthquake hit, and the landlord came to me after that earthquake and said, I'm sold my house because nobody had in Northridge, people need homes. They lost everything. So he goes, I sold my house, and really sweet Italian couple I rented from. And they go, we need our house back, and I said, well, where am I going to go, Tony? He comes to my door at 7:30 in the morning. I go, where am I going to go, Tony? He goes, well, you can stay on the couch or something. I'm like,
Oh my
that ain't
God.
going to work. So my guitar player said, well, come move up to Encino. You know, my roommate Nick from Sweden, he's studying to be a legitimate actor, but we rent the house out. It was like a huge freaking house right above Michael Jackson's parents' house.
Oh wow.
I used to pass their house every day. It's like a 6,500 square foot house. Didn't have a pool. It had 2 jacuzzis, indoor, outdoor jacuzzis. And I think I paid like $900 a month for rent with the electricity. Electricity bill was like $600 a month for this freaking house. But what they were doing is they were renting the house out during the days for porn shoots. For like $1,000 a day to offset the rent.
It's the Valley.
So we had a live-in maid that lived there for free. She took care of the house. I had a cat. She cleaned my cat litter box, took care of everything, and lived a good life. And I remember that's like when Michael Jackson, the first allegation of like child bullshit, right?
Yeah.
So I'd be going up and down the hill on Havenhurst to get up to my house, right before Mulholland, between Mulholland and looking down on Michael Jackson's parents' estate.
Wow.
And they would have like the film crews out front just waiting for anybody to come in or out of the gates every day.
Of course.
And then who else was my neighbor? That girl from Beverly Hills 90210. I think her dad was the producer.
Which one? Shannon
The
Doherty?
blonde.
Oh, the blonde.
Heather Locklear?
Damn it. Was it the one that had their own TV show?
Her dad was not Spielberg. Her dad was producer.
Yeah.
Oh, Tori Spelling.
Tori Spelling. There we go. That's what I was trying to think of.
Well,
yeah.
The chick that looked
where I
looked
tried
like
to go
a cow.
to my house, she had her house right on the corner there. So I'd pass her coming back and forth up on Havenhurst all the time. Crazy.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, she looked like a cow. Big blue
yeah.
cow eyes.
He's talking shit about Tori.
Well, dude, you know, I drive down the
Demon
hill
Tory.
and groceries and stuff. And there's a lot of stars that live in the hills there, Encino, Sherman Oaks.
There are
Studio
very
City.
much so. There's fucking
and you
people
go to a grocery
everywhere
store and you
there.
see these people all the time. You know, I respect everybody's privacy. I don't need autographs and stuff and go, oh, I'm a big fan of yours and all that shit. And I'd see people in the grocery stores and in the stores and stuff, and they don't look anything like they do on TV.
No, of course not, because on TV they're wearing a pound of fucking makeup. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, hairspray, freaking makeup.
They're out shopping. They look like every Joe Blow. And
exactly, because they're at the end of the day, we're all normal people at the end. Of the
I've always
day.
told people that, you know, we're all the same.
We all put our pants on one leg at a time, same as anyone else. Just because you make more money than me, don't mean shit to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, we all have amazing stories in the industry. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have so many fucking amazing stories. I'm friends with a shit ton of celebrities. I don't give a shit. I moved back here to Maine, and I'm just like bored out of my fucking mind. I'm like, I need to go back to Los Angeles.
That's why we're on your show talking about all those stories.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. See, telling amazing stories. Think about this. All these people out there in America are living boring ass, mundane fucking lives.
Yeah.
They've never done anything exciting like be in a band. Just being in a band is exciting. Even if you don't go to like Kiss level or whatever, being in a band can be really exciting. And making real music, like putting your passion into it.
I love performing. I
just
love the adrenaline rush. I love performing.
Yes, because you're
all
a
I want
true
to do,
musician.
really. But now it's like, what the hell can't get people to like focus? And everybody's lost their freaking minds. I swear.
No, it's called they all have fucking ADHD now.
No, they're
all popped up on Ritalin.
The 5G towers, fucking with their head, you know, something. I mean. Just look at politics. Like, what the hell are people thinking?
I don't know. Depends on what side of the fence you fall for on that one.
It's like, my God.
People don't always like hearing my opinion on that shit.
I mean, how did you get brainwashed like that bad? How in the media it's just like, oh, crazy.
Maggots and orange Cheetos. I don't know.
Yep. Well, I'm really fortunate. I'm working with this guy, Chris Dayton. I went to high school with this guy, and he's like broke a couple of like country bands, huge. And I grew up with him, so he's like established a domain name for my band name, which is Tagging Dragons, and he's putting the website together and the merchandising site and everything else. So
that's awesome.
Hopefully, yeah. So he'll get a percentage like off the top, which is more than fair. I don't have to pay him up front, but he's he's made millions and millions of dollars by doing that with other corporations. So I'm hoping he'll break me large. He's like, I'm in this for the long haul. So he's already started working on a campaign. So
amen to that, Boucher. All these pussy ass little fuckers nowadays all live with their mommies and daddies. We are true fucking rockers. Had our own places. Fucking 10 of us all piled into an apartment, sleeping on the floor. What are you gonna fucking do to make
Rick's
it happen?
Been there. I've been there.
But not living with your mommy and daddy nowadays. Everybody's spoiled. All these kids nowadays are so fucking spoiled. It's ridiculous.
I know.
Like nobody has like. It's like everybody's coddled
like back
so
in the 80s when Rick and I were out there. We were like, we had our own little crash pads and stuff in the Hollywood Hills, and it was so cool. It was so cool. I mean, it was crazy, but it was cool at the same time. I've been to rooftop parties on the top of apartment buildings in Hollywood Hills. It's like I can't remember that female singer's name, but there's people that would have parties every night, could leave the rainbow, go up to the hills, and just have the greatest time, meet the coolest people. A lot of musicians, a lot of actors, actresses, a lot of fun.
So you say, okay, so the band that you're currently doing, what was the name again? Tell everybody.
Dragons.
Tagging Dragons.
Tagging Dragons.
I like that.
I own the name.
Nice.
I've had it for about, I don't know, over 6 years. So I've been trying to put a band together behind that name for a long time, but it's been so difficult to get people that are really focused and want to do this.
They're dedicated.
People want to get married. They decide they're going to go for a career change, or whatever reason. I don't know. It's just my
manager
luck,
at Costco. Oh, okay.
But it's my time now to break large for sure. I mean, my songs are over the top, and I've been experimenting with stuff. But they're songs that grab you, and they're songs that make a lot of sense. And I think just about everything I'm writing now is like potential hit. So that's great. Because stuff I wrote before, it was great, but was it a hit? Is it something somebody's going to want to listen to over and over and over and over again and play it over 20,000 times because they can't get enough of it? Well, I'm at that level.
Just when we get to the edge of what we want to do, the whole world goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've had to do it all. It's like you said, you got to wear how many fucking hats?
Game over. Game over.
I've managed bands where like they go through members every fucking month. Like, oh, sorry, this drummer didn't work out. Oh, now we're trying to get another drummer. Oh no, now we got to get a guitarist. Oh, now our bassist is, had a kid and he's leaving.
It's really interesting, the band Boston. I didn't realize how many member changes Boston has had. Tom Scholz. It's gone through
almost every band on the planet has had fucking member changes. I don't think there's a band out there that is still got the original whole lineup. For one reason or another.
Iron Maiden, they didn't even get signed to a record deal. They were together for 11 years before they even got signed.
That's what I'm saying. You never know when you're going to get discovered. You never know when it's going to hit. You can't just be like, oh no, I'm just going to give up. I didn't make it in 6 months. Fuck it. I'm going to go back to managing a Costco.
There's no Schwab's drugstore to be discovered in as a Hollywood starlet by some famous producer. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
Now you get discovered on YouTube. I know.
Yeah, if you're lucky. If
you're lucky. But that's where people like me come into play. You know what I mean? And like getting your name out there and getting you guys on more shows and featured in more magazines, whatever we got to do to like make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
There's nobody here in Missouri. There's almost nobody here in Missouri to put a band together with.
Hey, I'm wearing my
Those
rainbow
teams.
shirt.
Oh,
The
hell
anniversary
yeah.
shirts. I got a collection of them.
Yeah. I used to put on a lot of shows there on like Monday and Tuesday nights, and we'd be up in the, upstairs in the little where the bar is, and the 2-level and all that. I fucking love that place. I hosted so many shows at that venue. I really had that's probably one of my favorite venues to throw a show at. I mean, everybody's always like, "Oh, it's so small up there." Yeah, but like, it's more intimate. It's just like you don't know who you're gonna fucking discover up in there.
But you
like
still
I
got
had
the
some
people
amazing bands play up there.
Where you play on that lower level. You still got like 100 people upstairs looking down on you.
That's what I'm saying. So I know, and I love that little loft up above too. Like when you're up by the bar and you get that little where you get the crow's nest or whatever it is there, when you walk up the little steps and you're at the. I love
That's the vampire lair.
Back little cubby with
shit. The
vampire
lair.
I'm not seeing one. Yeah,
there's a sign up there.
I also love going up in.
Yeah.
Oh, it does too. It does. You're right. I love also going up into the Whiskey A Go Go. I love the looks on people's fucking faces when I'm following the bands up to the where everybody's hanging out in the back, the green room and all that shit. You know how I have the Whiskey has all those different little rooms up there, like little separate rooms.
It's called the dressing room.
There.
They're called dressing rooms.
Yeah, but I love that. Like, but what I loved about it was the fact that I would get to go up there and hang out with the bands and interview them and all this shit. And all these like people are looking at me like, who the fuck are you? And why do you get to go up there with the cool people? What the fuck? I'm just like, yeah, bye. And I'm just gone.
Yeah. I remember being in the green room at the Troubadour.
Well, yeah, but like that's like, people don't realize that that's still a pretty cool place to go. You know what I mean? With all the bands are up there. Like regular everyday folk. Yeah, but regular everyday folk don't get to go up there with the bands and hang out and see the other side of things.
I know.
To somebody from from Maine, that's exciting. You know what I mean? Most people from Maine aren't going to ever experience anything fucking exciting like that. That's like huge.
Now you have an idea of me in Missouri and how people see me here.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's nice. It's refreshing. But I remember the Troubadour. I remember being in the green room at the damn Troubadour, and I can't remember who I was in the green room with. Some band back in the 80s, and there were record company people there in the green room.
You just never know. That's what I'm saying.
They were like ready to sign this band, whoever I was hanging out with. But yeah, look, I got a lot of memories about the Troubadour too. A lot.
Here, speaking of the Troubadour and upstairs, there's another story. When Sin, we were playing the Troubadour, and again, David Lee Roth makes an appearance. He's in the dressing room, and he's looking at my outfit. He's looking me up and down, up and down. He goes, I said, so what brings you to our dressing room? He goes, oh, I heard a lot about you guys. I'm here for the duration. I want to check you out. And now my costume is black and red shredded fabric, right?
Okay.
2 weeks later, the Jump video comes on MTV. What do you think Dave is wearing? See if you remember.
Oh my God, it was too. Holy shit.
He's wearing black with red shredded fabric.
Yes.
Hey, Rick, what about Gazaris, buddy? What about Gazaris?
You're inspiring. You're inspiring. You're inspiring. Look,
Rick, he's not the only one. I think I've seen you perform there. The Gazaris.
I played Gazaris with Thunderball. We co-headlined with Pretty Boy Floyd.
Oh, Pretty Boy Floyd. Damn, I haven't heard that in a while.
And the dressing room, we got the dressing room antics on film. And boy, it's like, how many people can you pack into Gazzari's dressing room for the Guinness Book of World Records? That room was like less than 8 by 10, 8 by 8, maybe 4 by 8, 5 by 8. And we had the whole upstairs is packed. It's packed. You got to see the video. Damn. It's hysterical. It's funny. It's funny.
That'd be
the
cool.
Godfather of rock and roll. I'll never forget the night.
Yeah.
My singer and I were at Gazzari's, and I can't remember his name. Godfather Gazzari.
Bill
fucking
Gazzari.
took us
Wait, Nick,
next
there's
door
much
to the
you can't
Rainbow
remember.
personally, sat us at the table and ordered food for us. Yep.
Wow.
Mickey,
got stories.
I can't remember what his name was. Sorry.
Crazy stuff, man. We got a million stories about LA. For sure.
You're crazy.
I'm looking at
I
these
miss
panels,
Gazzari's.
and I feel like this is like the Partridge Family or Hollywood Squares. I don't know which one you used to look at. One.
And then they
Like
tore
you're
it down.
talking.
It became the Key Club, and I
Nicky's
don't know what it's
talking.
called now.
Now
The
you
Key
say
Club was
so.
cool,
Now Nicky
but
says so.
they're not catering to rock anymore. You know.
That's crazy.
I don't know if you guys remember the Key Club.
Yes. Oh
Like
God,
Paul,
yes. The
They
Key
tore
Club.
Gazzari's down and built the Key Club.
Yeah, the Key Club.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it's called now. It's not the Key Club anymore, but that was quite a venue. But they weren't catering to rock. I think I seen Janie Lane do acoustic set there. And I walked in the front door with my guitar player from Gothic Slam. And I said, "You're giving up all rights. You're going to be filmed tonight." And da da da. And saw Janie Lane perform acoustic.
Oh
the
wow.
Key Club, which is cool. Yep. The thing I remember the most about Key Club is their bathrooms. Like big designer cologne bottles everywhere, just insane. You know, super high-end place. But now it's something else now. And they don't cater to rock. It's like a whole different scene.
The Sunset Strip
things changed. And I believe they tore down the House of Blues got torn down, I believe.
Yeah, they did. I was there for some of the last shows that they played there. I really liked the House of Blues in West Hollywood. That was a really nice venue.
That was cool.
I saw Dan Aykroyd there. I saw a bunch of different artists play there.
Well, he was half owner.
I saw Pat Benatar. Not Pat Benatar. Sorry. God damn it. I saw some different people. Joan Jett. I saw Joan Jett get inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She played a show that night. Still sounded great. But, people get older. So, But she still sounded
supposed
great.
To tear down the Viper Room, too. And build this
hotel. They've been talking about that for years. Oh, okay. Boucher says it's now called Keys. Okay.
Really?
The place you're talking about, they call it the Key. They call it Keys now.
Yeah, it's kind of like upper class. I don't know. Last time I seen people out front. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, they're packing in now, but
Keys on Van Nuys.
Yes, it is. It is a hip hop club now. That's right.
Yeah,
I remember it was changing into that when I left LA. It was starting to become.
Keys on Van Nuys.
Oh yeah. I would heard that for fucking ever. I love it. Auto dealerships.
Mickey, your turn. Whose name did you forget now?
Rick, have you seen my Warwick bass? I got the buzzer bass, but this is my Spectre right here.
Careful! Don't hit the ceiling with that thing.
No, I got.
What is that? It looks like a boat paddle.
I have a Warwick.
It looks like a boat paddle.
Bass. I don't know if you ever seen a buzzard bass by Warwick. It looks like a buzzard. It looks like a bird.
Oh, really?
I have number 19, and the workshop offered to buy it back for me for $75,000.
Oh,
so
wow!
I know it's worth $135,000 possibly. And it's quite an instrument. It's quite magical. It's got 26 frets, and it was funny. I went down to the actors.
26 frets. That's a short scale.
Anyway, a buddy of mine is an actor in Scarface up in Santa Barbara. We went down to L.A. I said, dude, let me take you to lunch. So I took him to lunch at the Rainbow. So we're sitting there. I look up on the fucking ceiling, and Lemmy had his fucking buzzard bass that he donated to Rainbow up on the wall, way up on the ceiling.
Yeah.
And his was lacquered. Mine's natural wood finish, very unique. But that instrument is magical. And I don't perform with it live because I'm afraid somebody might steal it backstage, or somebody might grab it.
Have you ever seen the magic card on the ceiling in the Rainbow?
The magic card? No, I don't think so.
Tony and Mike never told you the story?
No. What's the story, man?
If you go into the rainbow, right where the two center curved seats are, you look straight up at the ceiling. There's a playing card on the ceiling stuck there. I don't know if it's like a 2 of spades, 3 of something. It's a black suite, I think. They said a magician came in, did the whole thing, pick a card, whatever, any card. Trying to find it. And then picked a card, and he goes, quick! And he throws it up, and it's stuck to the ceiling. He goes, that's your card? And they went, yeah. So there's a magic card stuck on the ceiling in the rainbow that a magician threw up there. That was the answer to the trick. Which card did you pick?
Crazy.
And it's stuck on the ceiling. And they left it there. It's never been taken down.
Wow.
More trivia.
That's awesome.
I know. That rainbow's a cool place.
It is. Never a dull moment.
It's full of Glenn LaFerman's photographs.
Yeah, I got crazy stories. I got crazy stories about the rainbow. But I did live I lived up in
Everybody has crazy
with my
stories
girlfriend
about the
for a
rainbow.
while. So I go down there every night because I was right at the top. I was right up in the hills, right above it. Dominion goes. I was at the top of that hill, so I just come down every night. Didn't have to worry about DUIs or nothing.
Nice.
They just can't make good pasta. It's always got water on the bottom of the plate.
Gosh, I got stories. I'm thinking about stuff. My gosh, shit that happened to me while
We
I was
all
at the
do.
rainbow.
We all have stories of the rainbow.
I miss the rainbow.
Let's see. I got felt up by Ron Jeremy at the rainbow.
Oh, I've seen him too. I've seen him too.
That's a rite of passage. That's a rite of passage.
That's what I tell everybody. I said,
that crazy fucker.
What's the night at the rainbow if you don't get molested by Ron Jeremy?
Why do you think? Why do you think he was always at Gazzari's? Why do you think him and Bill were so tight?
All the girls, I guess.
Gives you something to think about. All those girls go to Gazzari's. Where do they wind up? In productions? Hi, I'm
really?
Ron Jeremy.
Probably.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ron. Oh, Ron was not looking very good though at that.
He never does.
Ooh,
yeah, last time I saw him, he
I'm
like,
my God. Dude, we used to joke about him all because he would come in to see my concerts, like in the Rainbow. He would come upstairs and watch my shows. He'd come up, give me a big hug, and he'd be like, "Oh, who's playing tonight?" And we'd be all like, hanging out. And he's all like, I don't know. He'd be like checking out some chick that my buddy Nick had. Nick Foco has like these concerts and shit right up in there, and he's all like, freaking Ron Jeremy's all. He always came to our shows. It was fun, but like we'd kind of like joke like he'd drive up in his old beat up Saturn car. They don't even make Saturns anymore. It's like a Saturn from the 90s. He's wearing Crocs. He wears Crocs with socks.
Bill Gazzari's going, I got a lot of foxy guys. A lot of foxy guys.
I think my biggest shock.
They don't play my club unless they're foxy guys.
My biggest shock at the Rainbow was one night I was standing outside the restrooms with my lead singer.
I got foxy girls too.
Wilt Chamberlain was there with his bodyguard, short little white guy.
Oh shit, Wilt
Chamberlain had to duck to go up the stairs, that doorway going up the stairs.
Dude, it's not hard to hit your head.
I know what he's here for. Mini skirts, lace and leather.
Well, yeah.
Well, he heard about the foxy girls and the foxy guys.
Yeah. Well, he wrote a book, right? He said he slept with over 10,000.
Oh, we know about Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt's about
he had to duck to go through that doorway. Those tiny little stairs.
Yes, those
never
stairs. I remember those. Oh my God, that was crazy. Lots of good times at that venue.
You haven't laughed until you've seen Prince.
Yeah, he was always wearing a t-shirt. He always had a t-shirt on that had holes in it, wearing sweatpants and Crocs with socks. And his hair was always all over the place. You're like, what the fuck?
It sounds like
Ron just rolled out of bed.
That sounds like Stanley from LSD. Remember Stanley from LSD?
I'm going to leave the scene for a minute. I got to plug my phone in.
Okay. Better plug that phone in.
And LSD. They started out as a glam band, And then Stanley started dressing, he did a transformation. He started dressing like a homeless guy. I mean, he actually smelled like a homeless guy. And
Oh God.
he had the square rim glasses like this, and he'd do these fantastic gestures with his hands. That was, you got to look him up on YouTube. Just look up LSD and Stanley. And
Okay.
guy's stage moves were phenomenal. One of the best frontmen you ever saw. But
Really?
he looked and smelled like a homeless guy.
Oh
That was his
damn.
role. Yeah, people would be
Wow.
like, the band would be playing. Oh, now he's got the camera adjusted properly. The band would be playing. An hour later, Nicky's got the cameras rotated in the right direction.
We're good.
Stanley, the band would
I'm
be
not in the
playing,
picture, so are you sure?
and then Stanley would come on stage, and people were like, "Who's this homeless guy on the stage?" And he just like, and everybody's like, "Oh man, this guy smells." And he'd rip into these hand gestures with his arms swinging like that, like he's a synchronized robot. And everybody was like, you got LSD was fucking legendary in Hollywood. You got to see him on YouTube. If you
I'll go
ever heard
check
of
it
him,
out.
seen him,
I will
you got to
definitely
look up
check that out.
LSD. Incredible frontman.
Who's that, Rick?
Alex Kane. LSD.
Oh, okay.
They used to play Exposure 54. That was David and Renee's club up on Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood on Sunday nights. You know, they had all the free hot dogs and the free food. That was more in the late 80s, in the 90s. But yeah, LSD was an incredible band.
Did you ever do any shows, Rick, at the FM station?
No, I hung out there, but I never played there.
Yeah.
I didn't have a band together at that point.
Yeah, I've been there several times. I remember seeing Mark Ferrari was there one night. I saw him there, and
he played on a bill with us. He played on a bill with us at the Troubadour when I had Thunderball in '88. It was Ferrari. I think it was it Brunette, something like that. I'm trying to remember the bands that were on the bill, and nobody had figured out what I had put together. I had an incredible guitar player from Detroit, Joe Mazzola, and my drummer Cecil Freeman from Maryland, and I had Dale Thompson was our singer. Dale is he was the singer for the Kentucky Christian metal band called Bride. So anybody that knows who Bride is, they know Dale Thompson. The guy sings like Bruce Dickinson. All right, he's got a phenomenal voice. And so we did my song Gypsy Brandy as the sound check song. Everybody's standing around in the Troubadour going. Ferrari comes up after, he goes, "Where did you find this guy?" Lucy Forbes. Anybody in LA knows who Lucy Forbes was?
She was my agent. She got me the audition for Metallica.
Oh, wow.
I don't tell people about that, but
yeah,
it was 86 or 87. I was living in Elmira, New York with my girlfriend, and she woke me up at 2:30 in the morning. She goes, "Lucy Forbes is on the phone." So she handed me the phone, and she goes, "You want to audition for Metallica?" I said, "Okay." She goes, "Well, you need to talk to the tour manager, Bobby Schneider." I called him the next morning.
Okay.
I had to work all day. I was on a plane that night. My mom happened to live in San Francisco at the time. She was a corporate travel agent in Transamerica building. And I flew into San Francisco at 10:30 at night, California time. And it was so cool because she picked me up. We go down to her car and she popped a bottle of champagne, a couple plastic cups. And I had told my friend Scott, I had to work all day. I go, "Scott, go to fucking Kmart, get me a cassette player and get me 2 sets of Duracell batteries," right? And he recorded the 4 songs that they asked me to know for the audition. So I'm on the frickin' plane, right? Sitting next to this guy, a 3-piece suit and tie. And the motherfucking tape player stopped playing. I hadn't even learned any song. I was just going to pound them into my head, right? No chance to even sit down and learn. So here I am slamming the fucking thing. I go, man, it's gotta work. Fucking thing never worked. So I finally get to my mom. She makes me dinner. And I listened to it for maybe an hour. I get up early in the morning and ran through the songs. The first song of the 4 songs was Master of Puppets.
Oh, God. Oh my
Probably
God.
the only song I really
love that
actually was able to learn because I didn't have no time. And then one of their road guys or one of their personals was driving down from Santa Rosa, and I asked my mom because we're trying to coordinate where they're going to pick me up. I go, "Where's the nearest landmark? I could tell this guy where to pick me up." And she goes, "Well, just 2 blocks down the road is Hard Rock Cafe." So I went down there. I'm standing there with my bass and everything, waiting. And people are like looking down through the windows from Hard Rock Cafe at me, like, "What's that dumbass doing?" And he finally shows up in this little Nissan Sentra, like way back '80s,
Oh God,
and
yeah.
picks me up. He goes, "We're going out to Hayward, California, so we got to cross the bridge." So he goes, "We got to stop and pick up this other guy who's flying in from Arizona." So we go to the airport, and we're late. He was late picking me up, and we pull in, and on the mid on the left hand side, like between the two different lanes, there at San Francisco International, there's a guy standing there with a gig bag, and he yells out the window. He goes, "Hey, is your name Jason?" And he goes, I'm like, "Fuck this guy. He's sitting in the back, right?" And I know people like Paul Curcio, who did the first Metallica albums, was a very good friend of mine. He's no longer alive. And Carl Kennedy from the Raj and all these people from New York that I are friends with them as well. So I'm thinking, well, I'm just gonna psych him out, right? He's my competition. Put him in the back seat. So I put him in the back seat. We're driving out to Hayward. We get to this place called the Rehearsal Spot in Hayward, and they got a big load-in area with overhead door. Just where Metallica rehearsed. He goes, "Well, the guys are going to be a little bit late." He goes, "We're going to go down to the convenience store and pick some stuff up for him." So we're driving out to this convenience store, and he points out the shack, and he goes, "That's where Y&T rehearses. They've been there for like 11 years.
Oh wow.
Metal shack." So we get to the store. He goes, "Get whatever you want," right? He's buying like these mini kegs and stuff for the band, and I got a Mountain Dew. Jason Newstead got like a Gatorade or energy drink or something, one of those energy packs.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Watch,
And there was
watch your
another
hair.
guy that was with us from Daly City. So it was myself, Jason Newstead, who we picked up at the airport, and this guy from Daly
Yes.
City. So
We all
we're in the
know who
loading
he
room.
is.
They bring out a boombox. They go, "You guys probably want to run through the songs." So we're like, "Yeah." So
Nikki, watch your hair on the candle.
what's that? Oh, sorry.
Watch your hair
So-
on the candle.
What?
Yeah. What's your hair?
Be careful.
Well, I moved the
Your
camera.
hair around the
Um,
candle.
What's that? But
I said, be careful with your hair around the candle.
oh, it's far away, dude. It's far away.
All right.
So
Okay.
so the band finally shows up, right? And the guy from Daly City, they call in first. So I tell Jason, well, Jason was doing Master of Puppets, and he like the middle of Master of Puppets goes in that soft part, so, and he goes, "I'm having problems with that," right? But he was rocking out, and we're going, "Oh, this fucker's pretty good." So the guy from Daly City got called, and I tell Jason, I go, "Well, I got to hear what he's doing." So I ran up around the corner. I put my head to the door, right? And he plays about not even a minute into Master of Puppets. I go, "Oh, well, thank you very much." Right? And this guy was invited by the tour manager to audition. So,
Oh wow.
fuck. So I go in. We're about 4 measures into the song, and fucking Lars fucks up. Right? They probably played that song 500 fucking times. They just got off tour. And and we fucking James turns around. He's got his back to Lars in this rehearsal room. They got us all mic'd up too. They're recording this, by the way. So James turns around and goes, "What the fuck?" And I go, "Wow, you guys can't do that to me, right?" And it was so cool because I got to plug into I had my Gibson Victory bass for that audition. And it was so cool because the bass rig of Lars, or not Lars, but what's his name? The bass player who died.
Oh,
Can't remember his
Kurt.
name,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Cliff.
The original,
Cliff
yeah.
bass player.
Yeah, his Mesa. They had his Mesa.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had his Mesa Boogie
Yeah.
bass rig there. So I was like on
Oh,
2 wow. That thing sounded so good. One of the nicest sounded bass rigs I've heard, except for mine. And so I go, you guys can't do this to me because they fucked up. Red Lars fucked up. James is like yucking at him, and Kirk's like smiling. So we ripped back into it and plowed through that fucking song. And you know, I've never worked with such a tight band because they just sucked it out of me, man. Both my forearms cramped while I'm fucking doing that audition. I just plowed through it right to the end. Fucking I finished that song. It's the only song they asked me to audition to, even though they asked four songs to know. And fucking Lars comes running around his drum kit. And he goes, "Pah!" And then I gave him a tape and I said, you know, blah, 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 says hello and da, 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 and Victoria Calander from Rock and Roll Hotel and Carl Kennedy and da, 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 da. And I go, my agent, Lucy Forbes, I'll be going down to, just call her, you know, da, 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 check out the tape, blah, blah, blah. Oh, cool, man, cool, man. So the personal ones have taken the bass player and myself back home. We dropped the guy off in Daly City. He drops me off, you know, at my mom's place. And my mom comes home from work. She makes me dinner. And, you know, I go, Mom, I just flew in from New York. And, you know, I've got to share this excitement, you know, with somebody. Nobody knows. I'm out here auditioning for Metallica. It was like that night, and then I'm playing the next night evening. So actually all on the same day because that phone call came in at 2:30 in the morning. So I tell my mom I didn't have any fucking money. I had a one-way ticket. It cost me $450. That was a lot of money then even. So I wound up walking down to. I wanted to go to the Stone, I think on Broadway or whatever in San Francisco, where I'd been to before because I performed there before. So I figured, well, I'll just go down there, and you know, there's stuff going on down there. So I walked the whole way, get to the fucking Stone, and guess who's walking out the front door with their gear? Uriah Heep. They just got done on stage. There's no more music, so that venue was closed. So I walked down. I go, well, I'll just walk down the corner. I walk across the street. There's got to be somewhere it's a rock club or something. I can go brag about, you know, I just auditioned for Metallica, right? So I'm walking towards the corner, and I hear rock music coming out of this store where they got, you know, the studded shit and this t-shirts and stuff. And I see a bunch of girls in the back. So I go, oh, I'll just walk in here, right? So I'm walking to the store. It's pretty long. Deep back in. I'm walking in. Guess what's fucking playing on the radio? Master of Puppets. I look. There's fucking Lars with a little, you know, plain Jane blonde, young girl. You know, he was young then too. We were all young. And I see him, and I go, hey, man, who are these fucking guys or something? He goes, hey, what's up? I go, and we start talking. I said, dude, I mean, how'd that guy do? You know, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah, well, because I didn't get to hear Jason because they took off. They took us out, dropped out of his home before he got a chance, and they were taking a break anyway, drinking their beer or whatever. So I said, yeah, well, I talked to Lucy Forbes. She goes, dude, you just need to come down to LA. I got 3 other bands for you to audition. Sound Barrier. Do you guys remember Sound Barrier, the all black heavy metal band? And they had that Emil Lek guy playing bass for him from Yugoslavia or whatever, who was great. I've always seemed to be following that guy's footsteps. But and they had gotten, I guess they were Metal Blade, but they got picked up by Capitol. And Metal Blade, they had found a tape in the garbage can or something from this guitar player from Italy. I can't remember his name. So they were working with him. So I went down there. This band called Axe from East Coast picked me up at the airport because Lucy Forbes was too busy. She had James Neal, the singer from Malice, was staying at her place. She had a band called Samurai from Wales, England, that she was showcasing at the country club, right? So I come out to the guys from Axe, pick me up at the airport, take me to her offices there in Santa Monica. Did you ever go to her offices there, Rick?
Say again?
Her Lucy Forbes' office in Santa Monica was like a flat with her office and her house and everything.
It was Marina Del Rey up in the towers.
No, it was in Santa Monica. It was close to Marina Del Rey, but Santa Monica.
Oh,
but
I remember it being Marina Del Rey. But go ahead.
Oh, she might have been there before. She might have moved. But anyway, so dude, she fucking gives me the keys. It goes, my ex-husband's let me use his van. My daughter's training for the the Olympics ski team or something in Europe.
Oh wow!
And I got to stay at her daughter's like studio apartment with a loft bed and everything. It was really cool. And she gave me the van while I was there. And I auditioned for Sound Barrier. I didn't audition for X. In Sound Barrier, we went out to Mates Studios, and like I think Warrant's Gear was there. They're getting ready to go on tour.
Oh wow!
They like had all kinds of gear in there, and we're in the big room. And the fucking drummer showed up without his drums. The guys from the band like go into an office. They didn't even there. They just had me work with the guy from Italy. And I was like so frustrated because I really wanted that gig because that was like what I wanted to do. I don't remember heard their music, but they were good. I saw them open at the Palace on Hollywood Boulevard. They opened for Ingve was with Graham Bonnet. I can't remember back then, and some other
Alcatraz.
Was it Alcatraz? And I can't remember the other band that opened up. Another famous band that opened up, but they opened up for the entire show and killed them all. I asked those guys, I go, dude, you guys killed that show. You guys blew all those other bands out of the water. And I said, how the fuck did you do it? And they go, we're rehearsing 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
I said, wow. But I didn't get to. I so wanted to fucking audition with the band, not the guy from Italy who didn't even really care about their shit. A great guitar player, but it sucked. But that was a cool thing. And we waited for 2 weeks and nothing from Metallica. We finally found out they chose Jason, but they had already flown out to Arizona and checked them out. They'd party with them and everything else. So I guess otherwise I'd probably be pretty famous. But, you know, it is what it is. And then later, I was in Boston working with the band Tazar, and we were getting ready to go in the studio up at Blue Jay. And Metallica was doing a show in Providence, Rhode Island, which is right across the border from where we were in pre-production at. So I call the box office and I go, yeah, is Bobby Schneider there? They go, yeah, just a minute. Fucker comes on the phone. I go, hey, man, it's Nicky Ferrari. He goes, hey, Nicky Ferrari, what's up, man? I go, hey, man, I was wondering if you could throw me a couple of comp tickets and backstage passes. And I wound up picking the Lou Man, which is our roadie. I asked my singer, I go, do you want to go? He goes, no, take Lou Man with you. So we go to that show, and we're backstage. And Jason comes in first with a Gatorade, right? And he's talking to me and everything else. And these kids are there. These kids are there going, how do you guys know each other? And Jason goes, oh, we auditioned together, blah, blah, blah. And one by one, like after a long period of time, the guys from Metallica start coming back, right? Fucking Kirk comes in with his glove on his hand. He's got a glass of wine. He's like got his pinky hanging out. Fucking totally snubbed me, right? And they all came in one by one. But, you know, I haven't talked to them since, but it's interesting. But I never used to tell people about it because I didn't want to put a number on my age. I don't want people to know because that was a long time ago.
Oh, well,
I ain't no youngster, but I try.
I don't think any of us are.
Yeah, I try. I'm doing pretty good though. I can't complain.
My Jason story doesn't hold a candle to Nicky's, but
Jason.
I met him when he was when I was in Surgical Steel in '87. We did a supportive lead up forward on New Year's Eve, and Flotsam and Jetsam opened.
Oh wow!
That's when I met Jason. That's when and how I met Jason.
That reminds me, Lucy Forbes. Fucking Lucy, as soon as we found out that Jason got that gig, Lucy Forbes was on the fucking phone with the guys from Flotsam and Jetsam, and I talked to the drummer and the guitar player on the phone, and they go, we're doing a show at the Country Club, come and see us. I didn't go.
Yeah, they were nice guys.
They were doing.
As I remember, they were nice.
I couldn't have played with those guys. It's not my style.
Yeah. Lucy Forbes was one of the booking agents for the Country Club for the heavy metal nights. And she let's see, we went up to her office when we were looking for a drummer for Thunderball, and I met James Kotak there, and he filled out a profile, artist profile of his background, who he played, Buster Brown, Montrose, yada yada yada, all these bands, and we got to having a conversation. And I said, in New York, and I don't know what brought this up. In New York in the 70s, there was a 3-piece heavy metal band from Brooklyn. A lot of people don't remember. Eddie Kramer produced them. They were called Sir Lord Baltimore. Okay. And
I kind of remember that.
The first album it looked like a pirate ship underwater, and it was made of all glass bones. Okay. And if you look this up on the internet, you'll find it. And the name on the bow of the ship, very tiny letters, said "Kingdom Come." And I told James that story. And James wound up going with Lenny Wolf out of Stone Fury. And the next thing you know, their band is called what? Kingdom Come.
Yes. Oh my God. I remember that band. Hell yeah. Shit.
It's right up there with the first time I met Eric Carr, my friend Randy from Jersey. This was 1980. We're behind the Palladium. It was going to be the first show in the United States for Eric Carr. Mm-hmm. And my friend Randy introduces me to him, and he goes, "This is my friend Rik Fox." And Eric looks at me and goes, "Rik Fox?" He goes, "What a cool name." And up until that point, his character was like a yellow bird of some kind. Well, a few nights later, his debut show in the U.S. with Eric Carr, what was his character? A fox.
Fox.
I told you a couple hours ago. I said I got a lot of stories. It's just a matter of.
You do. I swear to God.
Well, Lucy Forbes came to see my band Sin playing at the Sunset Ballroom on Hollywood Boulevard in '84. We were headlining. We had Tariff and Witch, and I forget who the else was on the bill with us. And she brought Todd Cooper, who wound up becoming our manager. Todd's father was Les. Les was his brother.
Yeah,
his
Lucy
father was with
amazing.
Cooper, Epstein, and Harwood, one of the largest entertainment attorneys in the business. And Todd had an office at Jerry Weintraub's. So Lucy knew Todd brought him down to see us. And then Todd was impressed with Sin. He goes, "I got to put you guys in the studio." And who does he bring in to produce us? Dana fucking Strum. You see how all this ties in?
I know, Dana's been around. Dana's done a lot of shit I wasn't even aware of until recently. But Dana's been around. But Lucy Forbes was amazing. Did you ever know who she was by any chance, Jennifer?
I've heard the name.
Lucy Forbes from Rock
I have heard the name, yeah.
Amazing woman. But I've asked people, I go, what how can I get in touch with her? What happened to her? Nobody knows.
Nope. She dropped off
and
the
she
map.
handled like some amazing people. I think she was dealing with David Lee Roth and I think probably Rick, myself, a bunch of great people. Michelangelo. So after the Metallica audition, she goes, "Come on, we're going to a barbecue." So it was a barbecue at Michelangelo's apartment. They had just done a music video, and his dad had flown in from Chicago. So I'm like hanging out with his dad and watching the video and hanging out with the band and stuff. Just amazing times. Amazing. But
that's what I'm saying.
Lucy was a mover and shaker, but she had a she had a partner who helped with her with all this stuff, and he got in trouble big time after people found. His name was Ron Nagby. Turned out he was a child predator. He was into child porn. He got busted, so Lucy had to distance herself from him big time.
Well, yeah,
well, that's probably before. Like, do you remember about the time span? Like, what years you were like dealing with her?
1983.
Okay, so that's before. Yeah, so she may have had her offices in Marina Del Rey because this was back in 86, 87 when her offices.
But when we were talking to her for a drummer, that was 88, 87, 88. I was just out of Surgical Steel.
Wow. Yeah, she was dealing with a lot of people, and that's how I got in the band Tazara, because Bobby Tazara called her from Massachusetts and said, Who's the best bass player on the East Coast? I need a bass player right now. And she goes, "Well, that would be Nicky Ferrari." So he was on the phone with me, and I worked with 2 different projects with him. And should have got signed, but the crazy shit about that, let me share that. So we had a drummer. The drummer quit just before we went in the studio, went into pre-production. So we got this guy, Tommy Lee, from somewhere in Massachusetts, Fall River or Falmouth or something, and great drummer. And
I gotta check on my cats. I'll be right back.
We wound up you know, we're in the studio. We got everything tracked. And the last days, we left the studio, and the producer is working. Famous producer is working with my singer. Wound up pulling the plug, $2,000 plus a day. Pulled the plug
Wow.
and said, "When you're ready to do the vocals, let me know. Send me a tape, and we'll book a studio in Hollywood for a lot less."
Right.
So that fucker, and we had a little bit of a budget. So that fucker took off with the masters, went to fucking California, and everybody still goes to Rainbow and everything, and everybody's telling him, you know what? There's so many great musicians here. Just fuck your band and get a band here. Right?
Right.
Walked off the masters and screwed everybody. The band was everything. He was nothing.
That's crazy.
I've had crazy shit like that, you know, and you know, even King Cobra. It took I think 6 months to find somebody, and that guy was the bass player who was in WASP, right? What was his name? The blonde haired guy. Oh, I forget his name. But he came in 6 months later, and then it took him from the day I left. It took him a year and a half before the album even came out.
Wow.
And nothing really came of it. I don't think nobody made any money.
That's
and Alan
crazy.
Miller was the manager at the time.
Hmm.
Yep, up in the Hollywood Hills, because I remember I had to drive up. I didn't even know Hollywood Boulevard went up into the hills.
Oh,
On the
yeah.
other side of Laurel Canyon goes up into the hills.
Yep.
So I dropped off a bio and a tape and everything like that night. And I went to, the next day, I think I went to the beach with my good friend who was the manager of the Visconti Hotel near the airport. And we went to the beach in Santa Monica and hung out for the day. I didn't give a fuck. And as soon as I walk in the fucking door, the phone's ringing, right? Guess who it is? Carmine. He goes, "Hey man, is this the back truck of bass players?" I'm like, ha ha ha. Right? So it gives me all the details. Delgado Street up in Sherman Oaks at his house for the audition.
Mm-hmm.
And I hang up with him and everything. Fucking phone rings again. He goes, "Hey man, can you sing backups?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." So I went up and did the audition. I fucking pulled up to the house, and there's a beat up old Dodge van in the parking lot. I'm like, "What the fuck?" The house is like sub level. So like you got the house, and it just goes down the back side of the hill, up in the Sherman Oaks. And he was on his fourth marriage or something. I don't know.
Oh dang!
So I'm guessing that he didn't have no money because he's paying all his alimony to all his exes.
Exactly, and they're getting all
downstairs. Downstairs at the lowest level, there's one room. He had all his drums just like stacked together, you know, to the ceiling. Probably about 5 or 6 kits in that room. And the audition was crazy. It was the stupidest audition I ever did. So they had a reel-to-reel player. The Gilstrom brothers from Kick Axe from Canada wrote those songs.
Oh wow!
The band didn't do it, so they're all sitting in a room. They give me a fucking music stand and a chart, and I'm like, never even heard what they're doing. And Lucy Forbes had asked me if I wanted to audition before, and I said no. And then I saw their ad, and I responded to their ad, talked to the manager. But so I just did it by ear. And I think Vinny was there too during that audition.
Oh wow!
Yeah, but that was an interesting time. I think Johnny Rod was the bass player from Chicago. Wound up with WASP after. Yeah.
Oh damn! Okay.
That's and I went to New York and worked with Gary Driscoll, the drummer from Rainbow. Had the time of my fucking life though. Didn't do much for music, but great. We were like brothers. And then when I was up in Boston recording, one of my good friends called me up and goes, "Hey man, what's going on?" Da 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 da. And he goes, "I just want to let you know, Gary Driscoll was murdered. He was house sitting for some couple, and they were supposed to go to the Bahamas, and they found him hogtied and eyes gouged out, and all kinds of shit in the basement of the house. Yeah, horrible, horrific.
That is just
one of my best friends. We were like brothers.
That's horrible.
Like brothers. Man on the Silver Mountain. Remember that song by Rainbow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where so what are you going to be playing anywhere anytime soon? Like, where can people find your music? Where can people see you play?
I've got so many songs now, so I'm just trying to make everything cohesive.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it over to the management company because I'd already been dealing with them before on another project I was under contract with. So I'm going to go sit down with them and explain my situation with this band that I no longer have, right? A bunch of idiots. And I told them what the fuck's going on. They're stupid motherfuckers. Because I'm handing it to them on a silver platter. I'm just going to go to the management company and say, you know what? Help me out here. This is what I got. These are hit songs. I got great material. Let's do it. And then the marketing guy, Chris Dayton from New York, I've been texting with him, and he goes, yeah, I just got off the phone with so-and-so. You know, he's a music investor. So I wrote down the guy's name.
Wow.
I look him up on Google. I'm like, holy fucking shit. And I just reached out to him the other day and said, dude, you know, I'm going to send you some material. I'm going to send you a package. You should probably, you know, bring it up to your friend. He goes, oh, hell yeah. So I think I'm golden.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice to get that back.
Well, if I need it. But the management company is pretty huge. They got offices in London, New York, here in Nashville, and Los Angeles.
That's amazing.
You know, they're huge. They're huge. And plus, not only that, they do their own in-house booking.
Wow. Well,
very large
I
scale.
think we're going to kind of wrap it up. It's been Rik has been here for 3 hours with me.
Thank you, Jennifer.
But I want to bring you back on when you finally get when you get your music settled and get everything together. You know, like I want to play your
and
new
hopefully
stuff.
With the whole band, it'll make it exciting and wild.
That's
and crazy.
Well, that'd be badass too. Hell yeah!
And thank you so much for having Rik and I on the show.
Thank you guys for being on the show.
It's been awesome. Rik's a cool guy, man.
Look at the time. Got to get going. Look at the time.
I'm starting to get.
All right, you guys.
3 hours. I think it's time to go take a nap.
My cats are hungry.
It's been fun, you guys. It's been awesome.
I had to feed the cats.
I want to thank Nikki Ferrari so much for being on the show tonight. I really appreciate you. I want to thank Rik Fox, the winged knight of heavy metal, for being on our show tonight. We appreciate both of you. Thank you guys for sharing your stories with us. It has been an incredible journey tonight. I've really had such a great time.
It's been a blast.
And this has probably been one of my favorite interviews I've probably had in a really long time. I really enjoyed this. Cool. Thank you guys so much for taking me down my memory lane for music and stuff. Just some of the most incredible stuff I have heard tonight. Really.
Awesome. I mean, I hope we didn't put everybody to sleep.
Oh no, we've actually had viewers that have stayed with us the whole time. It's been wild. I'm very happy. This has been a great time tonight. I want to thank all of our viewers, Boshe Bushnell. I want to thank you so much to Christina Avila, PR extraordinaire. We love you. And thank you to Michelle Nugent and everybody else that was here tonight. We appreciate you.
Hippie chick. Yeah.
All right.
Yes, hippie chick, exactly. I've been friends with her for a long time. Good people. Thank you guys both so much. Keep me updated on your stuff. I would love to have you back, in the future. Play some music, have some fun times. Yeah. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
Hook us with a fork. I think we're done.
My stomach is screaming at me. But thank you guys so much. I appreciate both of you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
I really do.
I appreciate you.
Thank you guys for a good show.
And to all our rock and roll fans, good night.
Thanks for having me.
Have a good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome.
Bye.